All right, everybody. How are we doing today? Why are you guys talking about shoes? How did the conversation get to this? Who's this person hesitant? Who are you? What? Who is this person? Why were so many chats by this person? All right, everybody. GC Geek Army says that's 20 gifted. You owe us, Morj, for 20 minutes late. I'm happy that people are saying 20 minutes late and not like. Technically, the stream was supposed to initially start at 7:15 p.m. EST. So, you know. Okay, Jay says, I want Emu to throne thump me. Damn, interesting. Alright. So, everybody. The reason we are gathered here today is to do something that I don't want to do. Alright? It is technically to react to this theory. The ultimate theory about the One Piece treasure. There's one problem, though. This theory is 27 minutes long. It's 27 minutes long. It's quite a long time for a theory. The question is, do we want to watch this? Brandon O'Neill, thank you for upgrading your membership to Pirate King tier. For those of you who don't know, Pirate King tier's exclusive benefit is a once-a-month podcast that is exclusive to you guys. Yonko tier and below, you all get a weekly podcast called the Morjcast. Pirate King gets an extra podcast, exclusive once a month, where I talk about topics that you guys specifically submit to me and make me talk about. So, last time, again, there was an hour-long Pirate King podcast for last month. If you guys upgrade to Pirate King tier, you can check that out. And it covered topics such as what I believed would happen if the raid would fail. Gotta shout that out every stream. So, let's get the stream likes to 100. Aztec Device, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 11 months. Morj, make me a mod or I'll cancel my subscription for being late. No. Just chill. Next time I'll be on time. I'll be on time. You'll miss out on this week's podcast, and it's a good one. Brandon O'Neill, thanks for the 10. Let's get the stream likes to 1. Yeah, let's get the stream likes up. Let's get it to 100. So, here's the thing. Crescent says Morjcast is goated. You won't regret it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not biased. I mean, I am biased. I'm very biased, actually. But the Morjcast is great. I think the Morjcast is some of the best content that I put out, in my opinion. Because I can just, it's just more free-flowing. More free-flowing and more unfiltered, I suppose. Okay. Jivan Ramesh says, we love you, Morj, but hurry the fuck up. You guys really want me to watch this? I was hoping I could weasel my way out of it. Let me say this. Here's the thing. Oh, wait, Kino the Far, thanks for the 10. Morj, I had a week. We all had a week. Everyone has a week. My car exploded and is beyond repair. Oh, this is a follow-up to last week's stuff. I'm sorry, man. I still have strep throat. I forgot about that. I lived through a hurricane and an earthquake. Were you in the area of that hurricane that's going on? And I coughed too hard this morning and now it hurts to breathe. Oh my god, Kino the Far. I'm so sorry, man. I'm assuming that I'm assuming that you're mostly, like, you know, alive and in good health right now. I would like to think. But, I don't know. Strep throat is no fun. Just lie in bed, get yourself some bed rest. Does Dayquil or NyQuil help with that stuff? AJK, you gotta stop spamming the Wano border theory. If you recall, we did actually go over that theory on stream, and it was deemed too long and boring. So we're not going back to that. I don't even want to watch this theory because it's 27 minutes. I am going to put it on at least 1.5 speed. So let's see. Here's the thing. Who here knows who XQC is? Who knows who XQC is? Who knows who XQC is and who knows who Hassan is? Do you guys know these names? You guys recognize these names? Moon Fried, thank you for joining the Pirate King tier. I really, really appreciate it. This month's Pirate King tier podcast will come out by the end of the month, so you guys still have time to hop on that train if you like. Okay, so you guys know who XQC is. You guys know who Hassan is. Do you guys know the recent controversy that came about from them? There's controversy regarding, is it okay to put on another YouTuber's video or another content creator's video and then just do a reaction of it, you know? Big ethical conundrum right there. So, I don't want to be mixed up in any sort of ethical conundrums. So I'm just gonna float that out there. I think it would be ethically wrong for me to have to watch this video personally. Would you guys agree with that? How do you feel ethically about me watching this video? I want to cover all my bases. Is it ethically okay for me to watch this video? If I watch it, it will be at 1.5 times speed. I will probably skip little parts that I find boring, and I will make sure to comment on it, etc. But if you guys think it's ethically wrong, I'm on board. We don't have to watch it. We could just talk about other stuff, like One Piece Chapter 1091 predictions or some shit. Alito5 says, can you explain your violent outburst on 6th Street? I couldn't hear what you were saying as your animalistic screams were drowned out by the gunshots. Okay, I don't want to share any further information. Alito5, it is always nice to see you in the streams. I missed your tall tales regarding me. I think you were gone for a few weeks or a month here or there or something. At least a few weeks. Jordan Taylor, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 11 months. Non-One Piece, but if you enjoy Beelzebub, I loved Beelzebub. Beelzebub was so fucking funny. And then I found Gintama and I thought Gintama was funnier. But Beelzebub was hilarious. It to this day has some of my favorite comedy bits. I think you should enjoy Sakamoto Days. Okay, shill over. I've heard that I would enjoy Sakamoto Days. I think I will give that a try at some point. Zolden, welcome to Pirate King tier. Thank you very much, guys. Anybody who's joining Pirate King tier, if you don't know, you are going to get a weekly podcast regardless, which is the Morj cast, which you can look out for on Fridays. Big one is the Pirate King tier podcast, which will come out at the end of the month. So, stay tuned for that. Hurrying Lyrics 44, great to see you. Morj, I know you're the worst person to ask, but how do you deal with time management? Also, I spend 500 on members when we get... Also, I'll spend 500 on members when we get Shanks versus Mihawk if around. Alright, dude. Now you've got me really hoping that we get Shanks versus Mihawk. I obviously already hoped that we would, but, you know, it's... Like, I don't know if we will ever get that in the actual manga, or if that's just something that Oda really wants to tease. But that's really good to know. I'm not gonna hold you to that or anything, obviously, but that's I appreciate you throwing that out. And you know, you've gifted so many memberships already in the past that like you don't gotta keep flexing if you don't want to. But I really appreciate everything you've done so far. How do I deal with time management? So I mean, it depends. Like, I know you think I'm not a good person to ask for this, but it depends on the context, right? Because I feel like if you're talking more about general productivity, I think I'm overall a very productive person. I do have a tendency to be late to certain things because in general, I can try and cram too much into a single day and to like overestimate my productivity. But I find, you know what? The simplest thing I would suggest if you're working on productivity specifically, try the Pomodoro technique. Pomodoro technique, I forget how it's phrased. But that's a really, really good one to just start with, and once you get in the habit of doing that, just look it up. It's the most basic thing in the world, but it works really, really well in my opinion. And another thing that I found works really well for general work productivity is if you're starting the next day, right, you want to have a really productive day, set up everything you need beforehand. So if I'm writing a script, right, I know what the topic is the day before usually. It depends, right? But usually it's good if you set up everything you would need for this. So set up your Word document, set up like any research tabs or whatever, and just delete everything else. Like don't have any YouTube tabs open, no social media stuff open. Just make it so that you're able to wake up, go to your laptop, open it up the next day, and all you see is like work stuff, and you'll be able to get started much, much easier. I don't know. That's it. Okay, let's see. What's the opinion on the ethics of this? Let's see. What's the opinion on the ethics? No, why are you guys saying it's okay? Why are you guys saying say it's not okay? I think it's pretty unethical if I did it. I think it'd be pretty unethical. I think it'd be unethical. Brandon King says, dude, you're weaseling your way out of it. No, I'm trying to be, I'm trying to be so ethical, and you guys are trying to push me to be unethical. God damn it. Okay, well, at least I'm covering my bases there. So I don't want to see at least comments and shit of people saying like, "Hey, Morj, you should have done whatever." Jolly D Joestar, thanks to the 2. The channel mainly gets its views from Japan. That makes sense because I hadn't heard of her as a One Piece YouTuber here before, and usually you at least hear the names of people that are up. FarpTN, thanks for the 2. It supports your theory of raising the sea levels. Really? Okay. Damn it, so I do have to watch it. Let's get the stream likes up to 200 real quick. Zolden, thanks for the 5. Did you watch the behind-the-scene live action that came out today? The new footage in it looks pretty good. I cannot tell you how surprisingly excited I am for the live action at this point. Yesterday, I was really tired. Random story. I went tubing yesterday for most of, went tubing yesterday. I had to go early in the morning and got back really late because our group just took fucking forever to finish the tubing place. It took like 5-6 hours, basically. So I got back really, really tired. I wanted to sleep, but I was also like, I just want to watch something. And, let me just binge something for a little bit, right? There was nothing I wanted to watch more right then than the One Piece live action. For whatever reason, I was just, really, really, really hoping that I could just load up the One Piece live action and watch it. I even looked up if it had been leaked anywhere, but it hadn't. So, I actually really, really want to watch it at this point. Whether it's good or bad, I'm very excited for it. I'll say that. Party McFly, thanks for the 5. Try Reincarnated as a Slime or Konosuba, good isekai fun. I've heard good things about both of those. Also, how much longer do you think Egghead will be? I feel like it'll go past chapter 1100, but probably not by much. I feel like chapter 1100 will be a big incident type moment, and then maybe we'll be out of there a little bit after. Oof. Always a displeasure to see you around. Thanks for the 5. Morj, if you watch that video, we'll be left with no choice but to cancel you. Nice knowing you, buddy. Alright, it's sounding like I don't have to watch it. Yamabu says Morj stall more than H-Box versus Leffen. Rayo Chia, thanks for the 2. Last Saturday's episode of Bleach was goated. I'm not gonna lie, I'm also excited to binge watch 1000 Year Blood War arc. As much as I make fun of Bleach, it really seems like... I mean, I talked about this before. Like Demon Slayer, for example. I don't think that Demon Slayer, the manga, from what little I tried reading of it, I don't think it's that good. But the anime, I think, is phenomenal. And I think only people that try and take shots at it are people that are upset that it is more popular than their favorite anime. Because story is not all that matters at the end of the day. If you're watching an anime production, right? Story matters when you're coming to stuff like, literary merit and things like that. But for anime, there's so much more to that, right? The entire cinematic experience that you're getting is a lot more than just, what are the characters saying, what are the beats of the story, etc. So same logic applies to 1000 Year Blood War. To me, it looks like the anime is doing something really, really impressive in general with 1000 Year Blood War. So I imagine it'll be a very, very... I don't know. I think it'll be a really, really fun arc for me to binge when it's finally time to binge all that. Aztec Device says, stop stalling Mr. Morjal and the big stallers. Okay, once we get the stream likes to 200, I will start the video. Oh, after we do a poll on whether or not it's ethical for me to watch it. I need one last out. Strad Chaco, thanks for the 5. The argument was watching the vid and not adding any substance to it. So if you watch it and add to it, you're fine. I'll still report you to the cancel police, though. Alright, thanks, man. So I have to add substance to it? Obviously, I'm going to add substance to it. Unless you guys don't like the substance I add. Oh, shit. Alright. Let's see. Jose Larry says, is it better in the manga? What's better in the manga? I think that the Bleach manga for 1000 Year... You guys... People don't remember back in the day. The Bleach 1000 Year Blood War manga arc was basically unanimously considered the joke of Weekly Shonen while it was coming out. It was comedic. How stupid the new power-ups and Aspholes. I think Asphole became more associated with Kubo's name through that arc than, like, he became the mangaka that was most associated with the word Asphole after that arc, or over the course of that arc, because it was objectively just reading, objectively strong word, right? Nothing objective, but it was reading very difficult. Like, the reason many people, including myself, began to tune in to read it week to week was to see what new level of comedy he would pull out this week. It was that dumb in the manga. Now, it seems like the anime is making everything like feel a bit more polished, I suppose, a bit more serious, probably crafting the drama of certain elements of it better. But Thousand Year Blood War was rightfully a joke while it was coming out week to week, and everybody talked about it like that, including Bleach fans. It was just a joke. When it came out that there's only 10 chapters left, it was kind of like the cherry on top, where that was just basically like, holy shit, it's been written like this so far, and now they're gonna wrap it in 10 chapters. This arc will go down in infamy as the dumbest shit ever put to paper. Then you have a 10-year gap where there's no Bleach, long enough time for nostalgia to kick in, people kind of remember Bleach fondly, etc. And then you come back with an anime where everything's like dialed up to top-notch quality, etc., extreme production value, and now everybody's sucking off Thousand Year Blood War arc. I'm okay with that. I don't care that much at this point. But the way it was written in the manga, it was like one of the dumbest series I've ever read. And I used to be a huge Bleach fan, because if people don't remember, Bleach was the second anime that I watched, and there was a period of time that I was not sure. When I was in middle school, there was a period of time I wasn't sure, what do I like better, One Piece or Bleach? I think One Piece only really became my definitive favorite. Like, it was my first series, then I tried starting other anime and stuff, and then One Piece became my definitive favorite anime during the Marineford War, around when I was entering, like, early high school, basically, for me. Oof, welcome to the Yonko. I appreciate it. What a story arc it's been, assuming that you are the original Oof from that time ago. Hans Ding, thank you very much. Imagine this, Oof becoming a member after all this time. What a story. I appreciate it. Hans Ding, thank you very much. Morj, read webtoons by Carnby Kim. You know what? I'm supposed to be reading Kubera the Last God. I gotta get back on that. Bastard/pigeon/ you're throwing too many things on me. Bastard says pigeon/sweet home/shotgun boy clears any thriller manga other than Monster. Too many things at me. I need one thing to start with, but I'll try and keep it in mind. Carnby Kim. I'll open it up in another tab. Carnby Kim. All right, so that's open. Maybe I'll check it out when I get a chance. Ninja Dragon says they were wrong. They didn't see the light at the time. No, nobody was wrong. It was ridiculously bad. Titanium Dragon, thanks for the 2. Fairy Tail had tons of Aspholes in its final arc too. Fairy Tail is different because Fairy Tail was almost never a respected series. If that makes, like, Fairy Tail always had that shtick. It was, I liked Fairy Tail was like decent and even like I think solid until that Tower arc, like the arc with Gerard and everything, Gerard or something. Like, it was good for like a good portion of it, and I think it kind of peaked with that arc. I forget his name, Gerard, something like that. The Erza arc or whatever. I think it peaked with that, and then it slowly progressed into just becoming more and more of a joke. So that's a little bit different, because Bleach was held in very high esteem in Soul Society. I think Espada Saga and Arrancar, Eyes and all of that was very well known and iconic, but it was a very mixed. Like, I remember opinions on it were very, very mixed. Like, some people really loved it, some people didn't quite as much, etc. But it produced a lot of Bleach's most iconic stuff, like Aizen as a villain, all of that stuff. Then Fullbring arc, we don't talk about. And then Thousand Year Blood War is just when it kind of just dropped off of a cliff in terms of it felt like all of the author's dumbest tendencies just came to the forefront and basically dominated his storytelling. Caleb Brown, thanks for the 2. Have you seen Dr. Stone? If so, how do you feel about it? I've read Dr. Stone. I haven't really watched much of it. I read Dr. Stone, and Dr. Stone was a really fun it was a tremendously fun weekly read for me for a while. But then I fell behind a few chapters. This was all during the first arc where they're trying to defeat that, like, strongest primate guy, basically. It was a lot of fun. And then I fell behind after a little bit, the weekly experience. And I found it extremely difficult to try binging, because it's a great manga to read week to week, but if you try binging it, most chapters are extremely dense scientific explanations of certain things. So it's a lot of just scientific breakdown of just, just explaining some scientific phenomenon or how things are built, etc. It's not that fun for me to binge. So I thought it was a lot of fun to follow weekly, but not as fun, not as fun when I had to actually catch up. So I've never caught up to it. Remix King says, Morj, it would be unethical for you to watch this before Ash Infernape versus Electrive, or at least the Pokemon Adventures analysis I sent you. Well, I'm okay with making that unethical decision. I will watch this one first. Kino the Far, thanks to the 2. Drawing stream instead of reaction stream. You look cute. Thank you. I appreciate that. Drawing stream instead of reaction stream. You know what? Drawing stream. No, I can't draw. If I change the stream topic, I would have to try and draw a thumbnail because I can't contact the thumbnail guy right now. You guys could watch me do that. Okay, let's try and do. Okay, fine. You guys want I get it. You want me to watch the video that you guys like. Javon Johnson, thanks for the 5. Yo, I got caught up with One Piece at the end of Wano, so Egghead has been my first weekly arc. How does it compare to other OP arcs as a weekly experience? That's a great question. I think Egghead is I think personally, I think Egghead is the best weekly experience that I can recall over a sustained period of time since Marineford. The reason being, even in, if you guys don't remember, Wano had a long stretch in, say, Act 2, and even, there were long stretches in Act 2 and even Act 3 that were, a lot of build-up and waiting, and, even once they got to Onigashima, I was waiting around and stuff like that. This is, okay, when I talk weekly experience, I'm talking purely from the level of hyper entertainment that most people tend to get per chapter, right? So it's not evaluating an arc as a whole or anything like that. A simple way to put it, I think Skypiea was probably not a great weekly reading experience, certainly not a great weekly watching experience, because as I remember, the anime is even slower. I got to at least binge the anime, but I feel like watching it that weekly must have been difficult, right? I feel like Skypiea, for example, certain arcs are maybe not the best weekly experience, but overall they're great, right? So this is not comparing arcs to one another necessarily, purely in the weekly reading experience, right? I think that Wano was probably a really great weekly reading experience towards its end stretch, because then you're getting... The end stretch was the Sanji Zoro fights, then Kid Law Big Mom, and then Luffy Gear 5th, etc. That was great. But then I think there was long sections of Wano, especially Act 2, and large chunks of early Act 3, and even large chunks of just filler chapters in Act 3 that weren't great. Whole Cake Island, I think, especially once you hit that end, it had a lot of great plot twists and stuff, but once you hit that end stretch of Big Mom chasing, etc., and Luffy versus Katakuri, it just feels long and slow and sort of plotting. I think Whole Cake Island is a great arc read altogether, but slow. Dressrosa, most people will remember the hell that was reading Dressrosa weekly. Again, really good arc binged, but it was just once the birdcage started, it just took forever. Egghead Island is different in that I think there was one section of the arc that was getting slow, which was once we're meeting the Vegapunks, setting up the whodunit mystery and stuff like that. It felt like Oda's usual tendencies of trying to have too many characters and too many little plot lines and stuff going on in an arc and too much time building up, but it was very short, right? Since then, almost every chapter has been insane because it's either cutting away to something crazy in the outside world, right? So Shanks Kid, Law Blackbeard, the entire Garp rescue mission was phenomenal. I think some of the best writing in One Piece in years and years. Reverie, Sabo, Imu, all of that. Every chapter has almost felt like something insane. And even cutting back here, the last 2 chapters has been kicking off basically a war that we haven't seen since basically Marineford. So I think Egghead's weekly reading experience, I can't recall any other arc in One Piece in recent history since Marineford that has had pretty much every single chapter be something really, really hyper exciting. JP, thank you for the 50. Yeah, I remember reading 1,000 Year Blood War ongoing. Once it got to the Renji versus the Superstar guy, every fight began to play out the same. No one took any development seriously because it'd just be flipped next chapter by something out of nowhere. Thank you very much, JP. I really, really appreciate it. And I will add on to that, which is basically Bleach. Basically, it became notorious. It kind of epitomized that anime sort of, like, during the Thousand Year Blood War arc. It kind of became the poster child stereotype of like cliche anime fights where it's like bad guy explains some really weird specific ability that's unbeatable, and then good guy comes in really cocky and explains that their ability perfectly counters it, and it's suddenly the scenario flips. But then bad guy reveals like, oh no, but this was actually the true ability of my ability, and it's again some really weirdly explained like specific type of power or something. And then the good guy reveals like, aha, you thought that was the perfect counter to my ability, but I was just bullshitting for some reason. My true ability is this other thing that just happens to completely trump the other thing you're doing. It was that sort of cliche anime style writing, but just done over the top and over again with the sort of edgy Bleach character smugness of like long, stupidly worded explanations of like trying to be like, you know, just the coolest dialogue possible, but really more just like, please get this moving on. Didn't help that Kubo really limited the amount of content in a single chapter, so you would read a chapter and it would just be like 10 pages of nothing, and then the final page is like villain flipping the script on the hero with some weird ass-pulled explanation of their true ability, and then the hero shocked and the villain looking smug and shit at the end of the chapter, and then the next chapter just replay that entire previous chapter but just in reverse. That was what it felt like. But I could see how, you know, with some really good animation, production, etc., it could be a more fun thing to watch in the anime. Like, again, I'm going to rewatch the Thousand Year Blood War arc in the anime. Maybe the writing got a lot better, but I assume a lot of the fights can be made to look really, really cool with good visuals and all that shit, you know? Remixing says, put Pokemon Adventures React on the poll. No, I will not do that. Leo Recto, thanks for the 5. Why do you think Akainu isn't respected by the community, even after having the best feats versus Whitebeard beating Aokiji and being the same rank as Prime Kong / Sengoku? I don't think Akainu has the best feats. I mean, you could argue he does, but that's also just because we rarely get to see top-tier fighters fight each other, like in a full extended battle. So Akainu, you could argue, has the best feats by default, because, you know, him defeating Aokiji, that's one of the few times we get an actual, like, high-level characters going the distance with other high-level characters. And being the same rank as Prime Kong / Sengoku, because it's just... I personally think that Akainu, if he got a level up, like, let's say Advanced Conqueror's Haki, then yes, he would deserve the same respect, etc. I think where he's at right now is nebulous. It's ambiguous, basically. We gotta wait and see. Yeah, we just gotta wait and see with the guy. I think that you would be right to be hyped and think that maybe he's like top 3 or something right now if he got some buffs. But at the same time, you could look at his resume and be like, okay, well, he's clearly really strong. He's the strongest of the original admirals, but it's not like by a big gap. He's, however strong you think Aokiji is, Akainu is, from what we know, from what has been established, however strong Aokiji is, Akainu is like 0.1% stronger than that, right? And so to compare that to Prime Kong or Sengoku, or even like Prime Garp or something, like we saw old Garp against Aokiji, right? We saw old Garp against Aokiji. And, you know, that kind of tells us pretty clearly that Prime Garp was a clear step above wherever Akainu and Aokiji are, right? Because again, you got to think of Akainu and Aokiji, they're essentially dead even, right? Technically Akainu won, but if it's after 10 days, it's so negligible it means nothing. Whereas Prime Garp would have wrecked Aokiji pretty, like, a lot faster than 10 days, you know what I mean? So that's the thing. From what we know of Akainu, it's very impressive. He gave a significant challenge to an old, weakened Whitebeard, right? He barely beat Aokiji, right? This is impressive stuff, but it's like, does this stuff put him above Shanks? Does it put him above Kaido? I don't think so. I think if Akainu got a buff, which is very possible, then he's in that conversation. But as it is right now, I think he's, you know, he's ambiguous. Tala, thanks very much. Play Zelda already and reminder King mid-diffs Cat. Yeah, King might be a bad matchup for Katakuri. Playing Zelda, I really do want to. I'm taking a mini vacation in a bit. I might just download Tears of the Kingdom and play that there, but I don't know. Kenocha, thanks for the 5. Morj, can we expect any videos from the side channel? I'd love a video on Undead Unluck or really any cool new shonen that are around. I can't wait for Undead Unluck to come out as an anime. I think it's going to get very popular once people understand what it is. Side channel is on hold at the moment. Let me get at the Wano video first. Caleb Brown, thanks to the 5. Question, how do Vegapunk's characters live up to the expectation the story set up? How does Vegapunk's character live up to the expectations the story set up through 1,000 chapters? Are you disappointed or did he surpass expectations? I will say that I thought that Vegapunk would be... I think he's cool. Like, Vegapunk's cool. He's a genius scientist and stuff like that. I don't think he's wildly... I think with the amount of time that Oda kept him in the shadows and kept him hidden, I was maybe expecting something more of a... more different or more of a twist to his personality. But it turns out, you know, he's a genius scientist. I guess the cool twist is that his mind is split up into several different bodies. And that does play a significant role in this arc. But personality-wise, you know, he's a genius scientist with, you know, some comical elements. And I don't think that's anything crazy or groundbreaking. But, you know, it's like, I'm not disappointed with Vegapunk. It's just, I'm surprised that Oda kept so much mystique around him for so long. It's more so what Vegapunk can do that's so significant, right? The Mother Flame, so much history of the world recorded in his head, etc. Grizzly Adams, thanks for the 5. If the red line used to be moon, then it would have been a red moon. Red moon in Japanese is Akatsuki. Akatsuki can also mean dawn or daybreak. Shit. Okay, you're adding to the theory from a Walger from yesterday. Let me put you down, Grizzly Adams. I don't know if I'll ever make a theory on this. I haven't figured out yet. I have to think myself, basically. Like, does any of this make sense? Do I have my own opinions and stuff? Like, I have a lot that I want to say on it, but does it make sense to me, basically? Alright, guys. Let me get through these last ones, then we'll watch the video. No, we have to do a poll. Let me do a poll real quick. I'll do a poll. Okay. I'll do a poll. This is my last chance. Alright? Is it ethical to react to other YouTubers' videos? Alright, this is my last chance. Save me, ethical police. You're my last hope. No. Why do you guys... Shit. Why does everyone think it's ethical? I think there's a solid argument that this is unethical. Alright. Old Green Knees, thank you very much. Vivi's the next crew member. She's got a lot of recent interactions with antagonist and protagonist on Egghead, and she's listening. I mean, you could argue she's already, like, does she need to be on the Straw Hats ship? I don't know. Like, you could argue she's already there, you know? She's already part of the crew. Oda does the same thing every time. All the women leave and rejoin. I guess this is a much longer gap. I mean, I just think that she's technically basically a crew member. Does she need to be on the ship? I feel like she's got her own separate role to play that would not necessarily require to be on the ship. I wouldn't complain if she's added to the ship, but that's it. That's just me. MPA Slick, thanks for the 5. Morj, hope you're well. I remember at the time One Piece and Bleach was such a chore to read, especially since Dressrosa and Thousand Year Blood War arc were concurrent. Yeah, you're right. They were concurrent. I think Punk Hazard was actually going on at the same time as Thousand Year Blood War arc. I might be wrong. I might be a little bit off with my dates there, but I kind of remember Punk Hazard going on then. Or it might have been Punk Hazard in the anime. I don't know. I do remember there was a time, like, I think once Marineford came out, I was just like, yeah, One Piece is way ahead of the others. And it didn't help that the other two also tried to do war arcs. I'm talking Naruto and Bleach. They also tried to do war arcs shortly after Marineford, and they weren't as good. Oh no, Jagrawal, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 11 months. If the red line was a moon, the final birdcage will be beating Imu before he drags Fairy Verth down from face and floods everything. Great cleansing. Yeah, that's a really, really good point. Because there is always that ticking time bomb thing. Would be similar to Onigashima coming down in a sense. AKA Cow, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 2 months. Let's go, 2 months. Hope you're well, Morj. Also, last chapter was so good. I agree, last chapter was great. Thanks for being a member for 2 months. Okay, I think we're good. Remix King says, redo the poll, add Pokemon, trust me, Morj. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Alright. Enough of this. It's time to do the video. Can't believe we got 27 minutes of this. I hope it's a really good one, but people are saying it's great, so I do imagine I'll. It's one of those where I imagine I'll enjoy the video by the time I'm done with it, but I just don't want to. You'll like it once you try it. It's one of those. All right, let me set this up here. Oh, I gotta do the stuff to make sure I don't get copyright claimed. All right, hold on. Man. What is it supposed to be? It's supposed to be like this one? No. Okay, let me try this. Hold on. Nope, we're good. I hope I didn't get a cold from going tubing and stuff. That wouldn't be good. Alright, let's add this. Okay. Then we gotta make this really small. Got this. Let me make this more. Something I'm supposed to do, right? Let me see. I know there's a way to make this. How did I do this before? Filters. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we can make this like this. Okay, and how do I flip it? There we go. Alright. Sorry. I'm gonna flip it again. Alright, there we go. This has got to be basically bulletproof, right? And how's that look for you guys? Is that good? You guys like that? Oh, if you need the video is pinned in the top of this chat. Bonfagum, thanks for the 7. Modern America Godzilla pulls up to the One Piece verse. What happens? Remember, this Godzilla tanked a meteor strike and can move at light speed. He can't move at light speed. He can't move at light speed? Come on now. Godzilla would get... Godzilla's not big enough to be a problem in the One Piece world. Like, in the One Piece world, they do all sorts of crazy shit. Oscar Cruz, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 11 months. I haven't seen this video. Looking forward to learning about a new theory. I wonder if this just convinces me that this is going to be what the One Piece is. That would be nice. Kenocha, thanks for the 2. Someone who makes theories hates watching theories. It's one of those where, like, usually if the theory's good, I'll enjoy it by the end of it. Hidden Island sent me a video a recent while back about, like, the music of Mary and some stuff like that, and I thought that was phenomenal. But I didn't want to watch it initially. I only watched it because I was about to collab with Hidden Island, and I thought it was the polite thing to do. Like, he sent me a video. He's like, hey, check this out, and we can talk about it. I was like, I don't want to watch this, but all right, I'll watch it so we can talk about it when we collab. And I was very happy I watched it at the end. So you know what? It's like green eggs and ham, you know? Usually you like something once you try it, but at the moment I'm just like, oh man, like, because here's the thing. There's so many One Piece theories out there that at a certain, and I'm like so inundated with One Piece content. When you're a One Piece content creator, you see so much other stuff that people are just throwing out all the time. I've kind of grown to prefer to just tune a lot of it out and just focus on my own stuff and my own ideas and everything like that. And that's pretty much the way I like to do it. That's also why I'm hesitant when people are like, hey, check out this Reddit link, go read this and stuff. I'm like, even if it's really good, I'm like, I don't feel like trying it, but very often I'll try something and then I realize that it's really, really cool, and then that will shape the way that I think in the future. But in general, I like to avoid. Okay, you guys ready? Are we fine with this? Are we fine with this setup? All right, you guys like this? You guys okay? All right. Well, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick, and then we're gonna start this theory. Play it normal. I'm not gonna get copyright striked over this. All right. All right. You guys don't like. Okay, we can maybe change it when I come back. Give me a second. All right. Here, I won't flip it. I'll unflip it. How about that? That's the compromise. I'll unflip it, but I'm going to keep it mirrored. All right, that's what we got. Valid Scenario says, "Oh dang, just realized Morj cosplaying Hassan by leaving the viewer." That's what I'm talking. I don't want accusations of being a Hassan. That's all I'll say. All right. Oh wait, I gotta put in headphones and shit, don't I? All right, so we put in headphones. Flip my camera upside down? No. We won't be able to read it, bruh. Alright, I guess if that's a that's a deal breaker, maybe I just shouldn't do this one. I don't know. You don't have to read anything, right? All you gotta do is watch. Wait, no, you need to be able to read it because it's in Japanese. What if I narrated it to you guys? Okay, fine. Alright. We gotta play with some fire here. Alright? We're playing with fire. I'll even make it a little bit bigger. How about that? Alright? Desktop audio is on. You should be able to hear it fine. Let me know if you guys can't hear it. Alright, we're going to start the video. Let's go. Oh, and last thing is it's going to be on 1.5 speed. I would do 2 times speed, but you guys are slow. You guys would not be able to keep up. So 1.5 speed. Yeah, 1.5 it is. I like this. She's using props. I should use props. I would hate using props. That'd be such a pain. But it's cool that she's using props. Alright. Equator is red path in Japanese? Okay. Oh, so could it be that the red line is the actual... Oh, it's flipped? Is this what people were talking about with the poles? You guys talked about the poles thing. You guys talked about reversing the poles. Is this where that theory came from? So you guys are thinking that this is... Or I guess she's thinking that this is... we got it the wrong way right now? That's pretty good. Okay. No audio? You guys don't have audio? How do you not have audio? Don't I have desktop audio on? Here, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and... Let me play this. Let me see what's showing up for you guys here, audio-wise. Nothing? That's weird. Desktop audio should be on. I'm just taking it off. Or no? Why would desktop audio not be coming through? Does anyone know? The headphones makes a difference? Okay, I'll take those off. Let's see. Okay. Alright, let's do that. That helps because I don't like wearing the headphones.
でもレッドラインってあるじゃないですか。レッドラインって赤い道ですよね。だから本当はこっちが赤道なんじゃないの？この疑問がすべての
If the subtitles are too small, I can make it a bit bigger. This big? Let's try this size. No, but then I'm in like a weird spot. Should we just go risky? All right, fuck it. Let's just take the risk. We'll just do the risk thing. No, but if I do it like this, then you guys won't be able to see the subtitles at all. So she's got to be on top of the screen. You know what? It's good enough. You guys can read it. You guys can read it. All right.
始まりでした。
I will vaguely narrate it, okay? You guys, if you can't read the subtitles, let me explain what she said. She said on the Earth, right, normal Earth, this is what the Earth looks like, for those of you who don't know. We've got this line that goes across, which is called the equator, right? In Japanese, the equator is referred to as the red path or some shit. Red whatever, right? But, interestingly, in the One Piece world, the red path, the red line, goes vertical, okay? You guys following so far? So, she seems to be suggesting that the world is all topsy-turvy, in the wrong direction and shit, and basically what's, you know, maybe this is the sideways side of it, and then this is north to south or something like that. All right. I'm not gonna narrate everything, but I'll narrate the general part.
ドラインってあるじゃないが赤道なんじゃないの？ワンピースまだまだ謎だらけなのに最終章全部回収できますか？できないできない。絶対に間に合わない。一つ一つ回収は無理そう。ただ一瞬で全てを解決する方法が一つだけあります。 小田先生がこの世界に隠した秘密ルフィたちが住むこの地球いやすみません青色の星この星自体に小田先生が大きなトリックを仕掛けていたら実は一発で全てが回収できるんです
That's funny. Oh wait, what? How'd she get her dog to do that? Oh my god! My dog never did that. That's so cute. Did she train him to do that, or does the dog just... That's so... Fuck, what? Do you guys know what breed of dog this is? Did you see this? Did you see the dog do this? Look at this.
一 発で全てが回収できるんです。小田先生は作中通してナミのセリフを利用してたくさんの地理情報をばらまいています。小田先生
Does anyone know? No, my dog has passed away. Fuck you guys. I'm not gonna ditch my dog. My dog has passed away. Fun fact, it's actually the dog, if you go back to some of my earlier videos, it's the dog that was in some of those videos. Who's an old Morj viewer? Old Morj viewers know that you would sometimes see the dog in the background, sometimes on the bed, sometimes just making noise and shit. That dog has now passed away. June 9th or 10th or something like that of this year. So maybe I'm just extra, I don't know, extra moved seeing this dog. Alright, anyway, let's move it along.
作中通してナミのセリフを利用してたくさんの地理情報をばらまいています。
Yep. So she's saying that
地理が小田先生の得意分野なのでしょう。
Nami gives a lot of exposition on
この星の
geography, etc.
地軸の傾きの角度やルフィたちが行かない場所、細かいところまで見ましたが、この細かさは異常です。何もトリックがないなら、なんでこんなに凝ってるんですか？早速ドロピザが出した答えをお伝えします。これで全てが解決できる。
Let me correct that. I did not give the full information. The dog his name was Paco. Paco not only passed away, we had to put him down, which was, to date, the saddest experience that I've had probably since, I don't know, childhood. It is actually very, very traumatic going to the vets to put your dog down. It is, I don't want to explain it to you guys here. It was actually very, very, it was so insanely sad. The way they described, I'm not going to go in detail. I'm just going to say that when you go to the vet to put your dog down, they definitely sell you on the idea that the dog is not going to be stressed, or like they're going to do it in a very, I'm sure it was painless, but the way they do it is very, it definitely leaves a very upsetting memory, because he hates the vet, so he did not want to be at the vet. So he was blind and deaf by the end, and his consciousness was barely there, but he understood that he was in an environment that he didn't like, and he knew it was the vets, I'm pretty sure. So he was very freaked out even there in his one brain cell that was left basically in his old age. He was very, very panicked and stressed and scared. And so then the vet gives him an anesthetic, and you think the anesthetic helps him slowly fall off to sleep. It doesn't. The way the anesthetic works is that it shuts down all of his muscle movement. So he's he's very on edge and scared and standing up. And then suddenly his legs just start he's trying to stay standing, and his muscles start to give way and he can't hold himself up anymore, and then suddenly he just collapses, and then his tongue rolls out. Literally the dog can't keep the tongue in their mouth anymore, so his tongue just rolls out. And it was very, very disturbing to see, because clearly this was not just some, I don't know, it's not some sedative that just puts him to sleep. He was just collapsed and I don't know. Then the vet comes out to give the other dose, which actually puts him away. It was just very, I don't know. I'm not gonna, okay, no more. We're not talking about it anymore. Alright. Pole shift. It's the trick that Oda left. She's got so much cinematic stuff going on. Look at this. Why does she have eye catches? Why don't I have eye catches? I should do eye catches. And she dressed up and everything for it too. This is hilarious.
軸が動くって意味です。今軸がここにあってこう回ってるじゃないですか。本当は軸がここにあってこう回ってたんです。
She's just explaining that the what she explained before, which is that this planet was on its side. She thinks that the shift happened in the Void Century.
わかります。ポールシフト無理があるように聞こえますよね。安心してください。小田先生は小さい頃見た作品に影響されがちって話しましたよね。当時の作品でこのポールシフト結構主流なんです。
Oh, interesting.
例えば未来少年コナン。この作品は核兵器をはるかに超える超磁力兵器によって。
So right now she's saying, how much do I have to explain to you guys? Are you guys able to follow the subtitles and stuff? Do I actually have to explain? All she's saying is that during Oda's childhood, a lot of stories had pole shift as one of their key story parts or whatever.
大地殻変動が起き、地軸がねじ曲がり、8つの大陸はことごとく引き裂かれ海に沈んでしまった。めちゃくちゃワンピースっぽいけど、これもポールシフト。ちなみに監督は宮崎駿。ワンピースはジブリオマージュたくさんありますよね。小田先生は宮崎駿監督をとてもリスペクトしているという発言もありました。他にも神々の指紋、コーネグリフにそっくりなものが出てきたり、偉いやつが泳げない人を魚に変えたり、第5の太陽というワードも出てきます。この作品読み終わった後、ワンピースのネタバレを食らったような気分になりました。
JFW, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 9 months. Thousand Year Blood War anime is good. Dumb power stuff is there still, but it's either elevated or fast. They did all 9 chapters of the Kenpachi fight in one episode. That's the type, like, to me, I think that the Thousand Year Blood War arc, it had a lot of really memorable, like, abilities and moments and stuff that happened, but, like, it's just how dumb it was in the manner in which it played out. For example, like, the fight that Kyoraku is going to have, phenomenal fight, I think, for 90% of it, and then there's one thing, like, the way it actually resolves and is won, it's so stupid, and there's no other word for it than ass-pulled. And unnecessary, too. Just ass-pulled and unnecessary. Just adding on to the fight for the sake of adding on to it. That's the type of stuff that just throws Thousand Year Blood War arc, like, down, in my opinion, and many others back when it was coming out. It was so hard to take seriously. But, you know, if the anime's tightening it up and kind of seeing where it was rough around the edges and stuff, then I could see it being a good arc. Still have to see if they can fix the worst of the arc, though. Yeah, I think it gets... Well, I mean, I don't know exactly where the anime's at right now, but we'll see.
この作品もポールシフト、軸が動いています。この時代、ポールシフトの SF が多いんです。あ、ちなみに作者はハンコックさん。
Oh, that's funny.
ポールシフト、地球の軸がこうなると何が起こるのか。いきますよ。
Bunfagum says I missed your dono. Shit. If it's a super, I'll catch it later. If it's a member donation, then it's harder for me to catch. Unless I see it in real time. Just because those show up later. So if it's a super, just hold on.
水位の高いところと低いところが入れ替わります。
Ooh, this is cool. So if there's a pole shift, she says areas with high water levels and low water levels will switch. Okay, cool, cool.
これを地球としたときにこういう風に地軸があってこうやって自転してるんですよね。自転していると遠心力っていうものがかかるんですよ。
Now there's some other dude explaining shit. I don't know who this is. Some unknown scientist.
つまりこの北極と南極の位置から遠いところ、この辺の遠心力って大きくなってこの辺の遠心力が小さくなるんですよね。なので今この辺の水位ってこの辺の水位よりもちょっと高いんです。難しい話はどうでもいいよって人はとりあえず空白の100年に北極と南極の位置が移動したことによって今グランドラインの水が増えているよってことだけを頭に入れておいていただければ大丈夫です。
この水位の上下がワンピースのすべてにつながっていきますよ。ワノ国が海底にある。かつて世界と接してたロングリングロングランド島での解説。
Yep. She's giving examples of different things that have been underwater.
どうやって作るんだ？本当はここ海じゃなかったんじゃないか？水位の上昇がキーになるなら悪魔の実の能力者が泳げないという謎の設定にもようやく意味
Oh,
が
the mystery of devil fruit users not being able to
軸
swim.
が移動
This
したと
could
い
make
う伏
sense.
線もちゃんとたくさんあります。地球の軸がずれるとどうなるか知ってますか？磁場が狂います。
Oh, the magnetic field goes awry.
磁場が狂うと鳥は輪を描いて飛んでしまう。
I should have used my dog like this. No, he was a very cranky dog. He would not have liked this.
サウスバード。
Oh, whoa. Oh, okay. So when magnetic field goes awry, a lot of things happen. I suppose that's why Grand Line's islands. She said birds lose their sense of magnetism, like the south bird. And that's why the south birds. They become east. Cool.
困る生物がいます。クジラ。彼らは自覚を持つので、磁場が狂うと座礁。
So K Maya, I'm just going to comment on this one. Morj for future ref. Vets will now come to your house to perform that service so your pet doesn't get stressed out. My condolences on Paco. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let me say this. The process, because my dog was staying at home, right? I'm no longer at the same place as he was, right? So still with my dad and my sister still had the dog, right? So there was various discussions as to how we should do this. I didn't get my full say on everything. My vote was vet comes to the house. Their argument was it would be worse if he's like if it happens in the house because the house should feel like a safe space for him. I didn't fully understand this, but they were the ones that were orchestrating most of like planning all this, etc. They're like it would feel worse for him if the house, like in his final moments, he's scared inside the house because a stranger is coming and doing stuff to him. So I kind of, I suppose, understood that, but like I think also it was partly for, oh, you know what? It was also partly because my dad did not like the idea, because he's going to have to stay in that house for a long time. He did not like the idea that, I think it was more so for him, that he would have to remember every day, basically, where exactly Paco was killed. So I think it was more, the explanation they gave, I think, was more so from their personal, what was going to be comfortable for them. It is what it is, but I was definitely advocating for, can we have the vet come to the house? It's just what it is at the end of the day.
ルフィ、ロ
Okay.
ー、キッド。最近じゃあ一緒に4個を倒して、麦わらの一味並みにセット。
Can't agree with this. Can't agree with this section.
ルフィ、ロー、
In recent
最近じゃあ
episodes,
一緒
Kid and Law have been portrayed as powerful allies who helped defeat one of the four emperors. They did help defeat her. I agree with that. But help is a very loose term. We all know that at the end of the day, what defeated Big Mom was not Kid, not Law. It was very literally just like, it was just this, right? It was just this. This is what did it. This was it. This is all you needed. And I challenge anybody to go back and read those chapters again. Read those chapters again. Big Mom was perfectly fucking fine. She was literally fine. She was talking about how she's gonna get back up. She starts falling down this hole. She's still fine. She just randomly gets blown up by like 1,000,000 tons of dynamite. 10,000 tons of dynamite to the face. And then her eyes go white and then she's just in free fall. It is the TNT. It is the TNT. The TNT is what did it. Kid and Law... 10-15% credit to Kid and Law. But majority of it goes to this, the real MVP of the arc. Alright, moving on.
一緒に4個を倒して麦わらの一味並みにセットで描かれてますけど、今後不老不死の人が出てきそうですよね。不老不死の両家の実、人の実モデルに並んで、彼の実にも小田先生は大きな意味を。
Oh, this is a cool idea, because people have talked about, you know, Law has a special fruit, Luffy's got a special fruit. Kid could have a special fruit.
可能性高いですよね。
しっくりくるのはわかるんだけど、小田先生はこう言ってるぞ。他の漫画と違って自分は完璧に辻褄を合わせた漫画を描いてみたい。
I don't think this dog is the one coming up with all these opinions, though. I feel like it's mostly her, and then she's just pretending that the dog is saying this stuff. My theory, personally.
空白の100年に軸が90度動いてたら、惑星はしっちゃかめっちゃかだ。自転しながら軸が動いたのか？
そうなんです、そこなんです。頭のいいんだな。理論上
No!
めっちゃかだ。自転しながら
This is, she's just lying
そ
here.
うなんです。
She's,
そうなんです。頭のいい。
she's just lying. There's no way, the dog did not come up with that. I personally don't like seeing that type of thing in videos. Like, come on. Like, your dog didn't come up with that.
理論上
So, I don't 100% trust her, but the theory is very good so
自
far.
転しながら軸が動くと惑星ってのは大変なことになる。地球並みに自転してたらですけど、自転が遅かったら問題ないんです。ワンピースの世界、自転が遅くないか？異常に一日が長い。船出初日でアルビダ・モーガン・バギーを倒してゾロ仲間にしてナミと手を組んでる。
Damn.
クロコダイル倒した次の週には
Are the days in One Piece abnormally long?
メリーゴをもらってたくさん冒険しましたよね。40日くらいで燃やしてますからね。ロビンも行きたいと言え、行きたいみたいな感動シーンあったけど、あれまさかの仲間になって2週間。これだけ辻褄を合わせたい小田先生が無駄に冒険をこんなに短くする必要はありますか？おかしい。ワンピースの世界。
I don't know about this section. Because this is more like, to me, this is more just like the logic of the manga. You know, it's when you're writing a story arc that has to take place over the course of one day, you do have to pack a lot into that day. Otherwise, you get into stuff like, okay, you have to write a nighttime period. Where do the characters sleep? Right? You can't. It kind of kills the momentum of a storyline if you're writing something like Water 7 Enies Lobby, and you know, I don't know.
遅い。これで本当に全ての辻褄が合うんです。誰かがワンピースを見つけ、軸が元の位置に戻ったら、文字通り世界がひっくり返る。レッドラインが赤道になるから、グランドラインの周りはもう風が吹く。カームベルトがなくなるんです。海洋類の巣がなくなり、グランドラインに自由に入れる。つまり一つなぎの海、オールブルーにもつながる。そしてもちろん、グランドラインの流れも逆になります。競争海流、深層海流の説明もありましたよね。配置は完璧。地球と一緒。でも全て真逆に書いてました。やはり水流が鍵になっているんです。水先って水の流れって意味です。
Interesting.
世界がひっくり返って水流が逆転、リバース。だからグランドラインの出入り口がリバースマウンテンと呼ばれてるんです。
Oh, this is the first act of the theory. That's
全
cool.
て辻褄が合うんですよ。グランドラインの流れが
Okay,
逆
so if
転
the
す
water
るのは
currents were to reverse,
ルフ
what
ィたちが
happens?
冒険をスタートした双子岬はゴールである。東大は基本ゴールにありますしね。
Oh, cool, cool.
現在のグランドラインの
But isn't that already the way
ロードスター
things
ト
are?
が本当の出発地点なわけですね。
Okay, I kind of get what she's saying.
この図を見ても分かりますよね。誰が見てもここがスタートで分かれながら冒険していくんですよ、普通はね。
Mm-hmm.
つまりこのロードスタートからロードスタート。
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Lodestar is Roadster. Oh, that's pretty cool. That is cool. I like that idea. Who is this? Is this an advertisement? Is this a sponsorship? What's happening? Why are we looking at Mickey Mouse right now? What is happening? I prefer the dog. What is this? Who is this person? What is going on? I'm serious. What's going on right now? What is this? What is this? I need an explanation. What's going on here? What am I looking at? Why is he in Disney World? What is going on? Is LeBron James here? Is he walking around with his Mickey Mouse ring?
出たりするじゃないですか。そこで皆さんトムとジェリーなのかマスクなのかっていう討論をしてたのをよく見たんですけど、実はロジャーラビットも同じように目が飛び出たりするんですよね。最後に腕が伸びるのが印象的です。しかも主人公の名前ロジャーなんですよ。海賊機のジョリー・ロジャーから取ってるから関係ないって言いたい気持ちはわかるんですけど、あとウォンテッドの張り紙も実はこの作品が先なんですよ。しかもこっちのロジャーもストーリーの中でなんと処刑されそうに。
It's part of the I understand it's part of the theory. I'm assuming it's not just some random like unrelated YouTube video thrown in here.
小田先生はディズニーめちゃくちゃ使いますよね。信じられないくらい使います。ここまでディズニーを使うなら、おそらくウサギのロジャーラビットからロジャーを取った可能性が非常に高いと思っています。ディズニーランドウサギつながりでもう一匹いますよね。ウサギ丼。
今スプラッシュマウンテン乗ってきたんですけど、
Oh, Splash Mountain's fun. I think they shut it down or some
アトラクションなんですよ。のんびり旅をして最後落ちるみたいな。ラフテル笑い話っていうのは笑いの国からインスピレーションを受けてるんじゃないかなって僕は思ってて、っていうのも実際このアトラクションで、笑いラフとかラフィングみたいな、ラフっていう言葉が結構至るところに書いてあったりして。
I'm just so confused as to why this was done in Disney World.
なんか笑いの国行こう笑いの国行こうってずっと言ってるけど、いざ行ってみたら全然笑いの国じゃなかったみたいな。さっきの言ったピノキオのプレジャーアイランドもそうなんだけど、幸せとか楽しいみたいなワードが。
Wait, was it literally to? Was it for presentation purposes, like so that they could talk more clearly about the Disney references?
なんか笑いの国行こう笑いの国行こうってずっと言ってるけど。いざ行ってみたら全然笑いの国じゃなかったみたいな。さっきの言ったピノキオのプレジャーアイランドもそうなんだけど、幸せとか楽しいみたいなワードが入っているところの。
It was to actually make the Disney references.
全然違ったみたいな。
He went all the way to Disney World to do this. Well, I assume he was on a trip there anyway, but I don't know. That's cool.
実は笑い話じゃないのかもしれないですね。スプラッシュマウンテンも一周回ってたどり着いた笑いの国が自分の家だった。
For the record, I don't know about this whole. This is the type of stuff where it's like. There's so many stories out there and so many things that Oda could potentially have been inspired by. Like, I've seen people say, oh, the Wizard of Oz is providing inspiration for One Piece in these ways and stuff. Like, there's so much shit. I'm at a point where it's like, I take everything that is a reference potentially to something else. It's like, you know, the Roger from Roger Rabbit, or how Splash Mountain's, I guess, tonal shift or whatever fits. Like finding out that the laugh, I don't know about this section. This seems like a bit of a reach to me, but maybe not. I don't know. Like that just seems a bit much, but we'll see.
もしかしたらラフテルも出発地点というかイーストブルーとかにあるかもしれないですね。
クロッカスが入り口で待っているのも最後帰ってこなくていけないっていうのを知ってるからじゃないですか。スプラッシュマウンテン乗ったことある方はわかると思うんですけど、めっちゃリバースマウンテンですよね。登っていって落ちる山。見た目も似てます。だから思いません
？I just don't know about that. Like, the Splash Mountain feels like a reach to me. I tend to trust theories more that are based on clues within the story because we know for a fact that it's in the story, right? We can see it within the story that this is written in, these are ideas, these are things. Once you start referencing outside world things, it's like there's very little way to... You know, you can make so many things theoretically fit, you know? Like, well, we know Oda mentioned in some interview that he likes McDonald's or something like that, and then, therefore, you can look at Ronald McDonald and draw the comparison of the nose to Buggy the Clown, and therefore, maybe Buggy's supposed to actually be the main character at the end of the story. Like, there's so many things that you could theoretically do, and it's just like... I don't know. There's so many fucking stories out there. So many things that Oda could potentially have been inspired by. Once we're getting to theme park attractions, I don't know. I'll watch this section, but I don't know.
思いましたよね。違うんです。ウサギ丼、自分の家が笑いの国でした。だからラフテルも家って話ですけど、ラフテルにたどり着いたのは誰でしたか？ロジャーなんですよ。彼の家はローグタウンです。 ここは始まりの街であり終わりの街とも言われてますね。まず半分結論言わせてください。半分です。ラフテルの場所はローグタウン、ゴール D ロジャーなんて名付けられてるだけありますね。
ここがグランドラインで、レッドラインが通ってて、ノースブルー、イーストブルー、サウスブルー、ウエストブルーで、今軸がこういう風に通ってますと。ただ軸がもともとここだったんじゃないのって話なんですよね。軸がここにあれば、この辺が北極になるわけですよ。で、反対側、裏側が南極です。リバースマウンテンがここにあって、ルフィたちはこういう風に進んでいる。入り口がこっち側です。そしたら、ロードスター島っていうのはこの辺にあるんですよ。ロードスターは北極星って意味です。この辺が北極ってことを考えるとぴったりですよね。で、スタート地点の近くにはポルスター諸島ってのがあるわけですが、このポールスターですから、これも北極星なんです。やはりもともと軸がここで、この辺に北極があったっていうのは間違いなさそうですよね。しかもこのポルスター諸島にローグタウンがあります。ロジャーにとっての始まりの街であるローグタウン。つまりこのポルスター諸島と最終地点のロードスター島、どっちも北極星っていう同じ意味なんですよ。おかしいですよね。前回話した理論に基づいての話になっちゃうんですけど、この辺に軸がある場合って、この一帯の水位ってちょっと下がるんですよね。つまり、このローグタウンのあたりはもっと水位が低かったはずなんです。要するにこのポルスター諸島って言ってますけど、ここはある程度標高が高いところなんですよね。海の中にもっと大きな陸が続いているはずなんです。おそらくこんな感じかな。こんな感じの大きな大陸になっていれば、このレッドラインのこっち側とこっち側、どっちも同じ北極星っていう風に名付けられていることにも辻褄が合ってくるんですよ。今この一帯の水位が上がってしまっているなら、このロジャーの家のところにラフテルがあるのにみんなが気づかないのも納得です。
小田先生はローグタウンで一番大事な場面
I think I'm looking for something a little more concrete. I was more convinced towards the beginning of the video, but now I feel like I don't know. Let's see.
書いてるじゃないですか。100話でルフィたちがいたのはどこですか？ローグタウンですよ。ローグタウンのローグって何か知ってますか？プロローグ、エピローグなどから分かるように、ローグっていうのは話って意味なんです。話ですよ。伝説が始まった時。
I've talked about this in quite a few videos, so I'm on board with all this.
もうここ笑い話じゃないですか、完全に。ロジャー、ローグタウンで処刑される直前にこう言いました。俺の財宝か、欲しけりゃくれてやる。探せ、この世のすべてをそこに、そこ置いてきた。
Yeah, I liked Act 1 better than Act 2.
ラフテルがローグタウンのすぐそこって話をしたんですけど、このようにイーストブルーにラフテルがあるなら、シャンクスがイーストブルーにいたのも、最後回収されそうなボア王国がイーストブルーなのも、まだ謎が残っているテキーラウルフがイーストブルーなのも納得ですよね。今後ルフィたちが行くわけですから。
前回言ったように、もともと軸がここにあった場合の話をします。ロードスター島とポルスター諸島、どっちも北極星ですから、ここら辺にもともと北極があったっていうことも、この理論だとほぼ確定なわけですけど、ここに軸があった場合は、ここら辺の水が少なくなる。そうすると、一つの大きな島が浮かび上がる。レッドラインが真ん中を通るわけですね。
Okay.
これ、上から見たら D ですよね。
待てよ、D が2つあるじゃねえか。
以前も話したように、正反対のルフィと黒ひげが D の時点で、2種類の D がいてもおかしくないですよね。対立構造としても辻褄が合います。小田先生は世界中の名称をオマージュしていると言いましたが、まだ一つ出てきていないものがありまして、誰もが知ってますよね。ベルリンの壁。ちょうどここの反対側、ね、にマリージョアと魚人島があるんです。反対側にね。
Okay. It's on the opposite side of this? Isn't Morj
世
in the
界
middle?
政府、神の天敵 D がちょうど裏側に
You're
来
saying
ます。
top and bottom, right?
ローが育った町のモデルはローテンブルクかなと思っています。美女と野獣の朝の風景。ピノキオの舞台。
One sec, I just saw a member thing, which, again, I gotta catch the member. Supers I can catch up with in a bit, but members I gotta get as they come up. Khalid Suleiman, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 7 months. Hey there, Mr. Lorp. First time catching a stream live in a minute. Do you play basketball? I'm sorry, you're nice. I haven't played basketball in like 2 years? 2 years? And, no, I'm not, like, I'm serviceable basically because I didn't start playing basketball at all till much later. Like I got into basketball late in college basically. And so since then, like, you know, you're, like, when I started playing, like, my friends were getting me into it and stuff. I was like, okay, they're like, what do you want to play like? Or my friend was like, what do you want to play like? And I was like, I want to be like Kyrie Irving. I don't even like Kyrie as a player. I hate him as a person. But you know, I was like, I want to be like Kyrie, like I want to have really good handles and stuff. And I quickly realized that if you're picking up a sport, especially one like basketball, which is pretty skilled, it was quickly explained to me like, no, just learn to shoot and play defense, and that'll be enough that you can be around in a pickup game and stuff like that. And like, you know, if you're trying to get really good ball handling, well, everybody else has been playing this game for like years and years. So I'm serviceable basically, but I would never say I'm like really good at basketball or anything. I am a very good defender, but that's because that was the only thing like I was like allowed to do for a little bit. So I was like, okay, I'll just be good at this, and then eventually I got better at shooting and stuff too.
有名なドイツの観光地です。ローが言ったミニオン島、ここのモデルはおそらくドイツのリューベック。すぐ近くのルーベック島に名前を使ってますね。ローテンブルク、リューベック。ローにドイツ要素が含まれていたのもベルリンの壁なら納得ですし、ポーラーが極地を表す。ローはノースブルー出身だし、北極っぽいですよね。仲間に白クマ、ペンギン、シャチ。寒っ。北極ね。ローに北極要素が含まれていたのも納得です。北極側がドイツ。
So I think for me, and I think there's just a difference in terms of like what you like in terms of seeing theories. This one is very, very much based on outside elements and references that Oda is making in the story, which to me, I think that's like very hit or miss in terms of whether or not that actually turns into something within the story itself, because a lot of the, like, you know, it's like he'll name a character. The example I use often is like he'll name a character Magellan. That doesn't mean that Magellan actually has anything to do with the real life person Magellan. He'll draw from places and cities and stuff like that. They very often don't mean anything in the broader sense. I guess the way I'll just say it is that I tend to trust theories more that are very, very much based in like clues within the One Piece story itself, rather than outside potential references both to fiction or real life that Oda might be making. Because at the end of the day, if Oda's revealing that the One Piece is reversing the poles and everything like that, what makes it feel like a fitting reveal would be if within the story we're like, oh my god, suddenly everything's clicking into place. So some of the things that she was talking about earlier, like the weird magnetic fields and things like that in One Piece, I like that stuff. When you're getting to stuff like, I don't know, towns in Germany and things like that, it's like, if you're reading the story and then suddenly Oda reveals something like the poles being reversed, then just because there's certain German references or location references or like a reference to Splash Mountain, for the reader, that's not gonna feel like a really, oh fuck, I forgot to mute my phone. For the reader, that's not gonna feel like a really, you know, well-built reveal or well-built twist within the context of the story itself, right? You would need to know about Splash Mountain for Splash Mountain references to mean anything to you. Whereas stuff like, you know, the Southbird, strange magnetic fields, things like that, even the red line aspect, you know, red path, you know, normally meaning equator, because the story's for Japanese readers, so everyone's going to understand that potential twist. That's the majority of readers in One Piece, I mean. But I'm not so hot on this next section.
作中通してドイツとフランスの仲の悪さを描いてますよね。ジェルマとサンジとか。
ジェルマっていうのが、まあ、スペリングがまあジャーマン、ドイツなんだよね。で、ドイツって、まあ、富国強兵とか強いイメージがあると思うんだけど、まあ、そこでジェルマとかけてるんじゃないかなっていう。でもサンジのモデルはフランスなんだよ。マドモアゼルとか言うじゃん。あれもフランス語だし、サンジの技のフランバージュとか、ムートンとかっていうのも全部フランス語なんだよ。だからそのドイツとフランスって、まあ、長い歴史見て結構争ってるから、
I like that.
ちゃんと仲の悪さみたいなもんね。
こっち側が D で、反対側が世界政府。イム様や政府のトップがいる城のモデルがシャンボール城であることを考えれば、政府にはフランス要素が詰め込まれてますよね。このインターポールの本部はちゃんとフランスです。つまり北極が D で、南極が世界政府。そしたらバギーとシャンクスの言い争い。以前の考察通り、バギーが D の息子、シャンクスが天竜人の息子っていうのも全て辻褄が合います。これ全部偶然です。ローグタウンがロジャーラビットの話しましたけど、ちょうど反対側のマリージョンの真下に
little Easter egg if Oda did make that true. Yeah, I'm just not super sold on the Roger Rabbit stuff.
だから魚人島の位置は海底のさらに海底、コーティングをしない限りいけないっていうのはそのための設定だと思います。つまり北極の位置と南極の位置にもともと大きな大陸があったんですが、空白の100年のポールシフトによってかつて栄えた巨大な王国は沈んでしまった。南極側の人たちは人魚なので泳ぎが得意なんですよ。 対比として北極側の人たちは泳ぎが苦手な種族だったのではないでしょうか。
Okay, day when the two kings meet again. I like this.
それが悪魔の実として宿っているなら、
Hmm.
能力者が泳げないのも納得いくんですよね。あくまで憶測なんですが、空白の100年のポールシフトで巨大な王国が沈んだ際、この泳げない彼らのことを人魚の一族が助けようとしたのでは。そうなれば箱舟ノアの存在も通じてまいりますよね。それによって生き残ったのが D の意志なのではないでしょうか。先ほどの神々の指紋でも洪水を起こして泳げない人を魚に変えるやつ出てきましたし、一応全部筋が通ります。ただ今後軸が戻るってなった時、同じように今のグランドラインから沈む国が現れる。それが白星、ポセイドンの出番なのではないでしょうか。最後まで小田先生が残している青生地、彼の出番もここなのではないでしょうか。このかつて栄えた巨大な王国、沈んでしまったと言える根拠を最後に発表してしまいとさせていただきます。
Okay, I like the idea
小
of
田
the
先生
kingdom
がディ
that's
ズニーオ
saying
マージュをしていると散々話してきましたが、まだ一つ残っています。
Atlantis?
アトランティス。
Yeah.
国が一昼夜にして大海に沈んで消えた。アトランティスにはトビウオライダーズが出てきますし、
Oh, that's cool. I didn't notice that similarity.
影響を受けてそう。アトランティスは海底2万マイルを元に作られた作品。
The thing is, Atlantis as a movie, I remember it came out fairly late. I would imagine pretty late to be any sort of serious influence for Oda. I'm gonna look up real quick. I like the Atlantis movie, but it was definitely in the twilight years of Disney's 2D animation. 2001 is when it came out, so a little bit after the start of One Piece. Maybe Oda's flexible with some of... I mean, Atlantis in general as a story has been around historically for years, so it doesn't have to be the movie, Disney movie reference.
作者ジュール・ベルヌ。人が空想できるすべての出来事は起こりうる現実である。
Oh, wait, what? Jules Verne came up with this quote? I thought this was a One Piece specific quote for so fucking long. Did you guys know about this? I feel almost betrayed. Anything one man can imagine, men can... It's not the same as the One Piece physicist, I forget his name. But it's similar, right? How come no one talks about this? Jules Verne came up with this? God damn it. Alright.
これがウィリー・ガロンの言葉に使われている。
Yeah, Willie Gallen.
このアトランティスという王国は海の底に沈んだんです。つまりこのリバースマウンテン周りの海底
I'm looking up that Doflamingo quote now. Whoever wins... Okay, justice will prevail. Quote. Wait. Whoever wins becomes justice. If this one's not One Piece specific, I'm gonna cry. Okay, I think we're good. I mean, yeah, like the idea of it has obviously been One Piece is not gonna be the first to ever say that, but that specific quote, you know what I mean? Okay. Alright, that's cool.
にかつて栄えた海の底に沈んだんです。つまりこのリバースマウンテン周りの海底にかつて栄えた巨大な王国があるはず。エネル、白星が土地を求める憧れがありましたよね。エネルは土地をバースと呼んでいました。アトランティス、失われた大地を取り戻す戦い、大地を取り戻す。だから巨大な王国の真ん中、リバースマウンテンなんです。
Reverse Mountain. I could see that.
バース、空島にあったバース。これはもともと正解にあったジャヤがムックアップストリームによって空に打ち上げられたものです。残った片割れがこちらですね。地図を見るとこっちが北でこっちが南らしいです。そして空島の地図と組み合わせたものがこちら。 ドクロの右目に黄金を見たっていう超大事なシーンなので皆さん見覚えありますよね。ただ大昔の地図も出てきます。これとこれがこうやってくっついてたわけですよね。っていう超大事なシーンなので皆さん見覚えありますよね。ただ大昔の地図も出てきます。これとこれがこうやってくっついてた。
Wait, what?
わけですよね。何か気づきませんか？
Oh, okay, okay. It's just what we saw before, right? What, that the... Okay, I've seen people talk about this, that this eye is missing. I forget which video. Was it O'Hara's video? It was a video talking about this. I'd definitely buy this part.
北と南の位置、明らかに
Or no, am I misunderstanding?
何か気づきませんか？
I thought the discussion was about this part of it. Maybe I'm misremembering something, but I swear that this eye was important. Or was that resolved in the story? Do you guys remember? Was this eye important? This missing eye? I swear that this has come up before. Okay, let's see.
北と南の位置、
Oh! I'm getting too caught up on the eye. The pole shift.
明らかに形状が動いてるんですよ。
That's
おかしいで
crazy.
しょ。もう軸が動いてるの確定で、これによって水位変動が起こったと思います。
Oh, shit. No, I wish he'd led with this. That is cool.
北と南の位置、
So this was the way it was supposed to be, and then this is the way it is now. Interesting. That is wildly interesting. So, island gets... Hold on, let me think. Island gets launched. Island gets launched. This... Yeah, it's just the total opposite. Right? It's literally the total opposite. Because north, it would be facing this... Man, yeah, it's actually the total opposite. That's crazy. There's only two other possibilities. One possibility is literally just Oda made a mistake. That's possibility one. But you would think that that mistake would get caught in some way. Right? It would get caught in some way by some editor. It is odd that Nami doesn't point this out, the north-south thing, because she's a navigator, so this would be something that would stand out to her right away, correct? It is odd that she doesn't point it out. That's one of the only reasons I think it could be a mistake. Because you would think that the actual if it was meant to be something deliberate, then wouldn't Oda have had Nami point that out? But at the same time, if Oda having Nami point it out ruins the twist later on, let's say it was not a mistake, right? So, option 2 is it's launched by knock upstream. As it's launched by knock upstream, it's rotated or whatever in the sky because knock upstream is a unpredictable... Like, knock upstream does send it straight up, but it's also a twisty sort of current from what I remember. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. But it might have flipped around or something like that or rotated by being knocked up by knock upstream. That's a possibility as well. But then why even include... Like, why even write in that little point of confusion that the directions of the island swapped, right? Why even include that? Why bother including that? Right? So, those are the two alternate possibilities. I think that there's answers to both of them, right? One, just a mistake. I mean, if it's a mistake, it's a mistake, right? But at the same time, it could very well be deliberate, right? Okay, so then two, say knock upstream didn't twist, or knock upstream twisted around or something, but it's like, why even include that? So, if we take this as legitimate, then that would be really, 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 like, to me, if I'm being honest, right, I feel like the entirety of Act 1 of this video, I really liked. I think Act 2 and most of Act 3, really, I didn't, I was personally not, like, I could see some people really liking it. It's just not my preference for One Piece theories, because I just don't, like, when it comes to, like, referencing a lot of outside, I don't want to belabor the same point over and over again, but that's just my personal feelings on it, because I've seen so many times, you know, people pulling, you know, this happened in history, or this happened in this, or whatever, like, people drawing on the Battle of Waterloo and stuff to explain the plot of Wano, and there's so many things, and it's like, just because Oda has maybe draw something from here or there, or whatever, that doesn't mean that you're gonna copy certain things beat for beat. It almost never happens. I think the closest we've ever had to a story really following something very tightly to some outside allusion is the story of Momotaro. Wano went very close to that, right? And even then, you know, it's not quite the same thing, right? But it included quite a few references. But in general, I feel like that's not the case, right? I mean, you could say that the thing that Oda has been most inspired by most clearly was the story of Sun Wukong, and even that's very, 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 very vague and slight influences on the story of One Piece. So in general, I don't put too much. It's one of those where it's like, yeah, maybe this stuff matters, maybe it doesn't, but a lot of references, like once you're getting to stuff like Splash Mountain as your references, I just that's just me personally. That's not what sells me that much on a theory. However, Act 1 I thought was really interesting. I think so many of the things that she's talking about, especially just small things like, I didn't know that the equator in Japan is supposed to be the red path or the red line. That makes it really, really an interesting choice to have that be vertical instead of horizontal in the One Piece world, right? So that alone is interesting, but then pointing out so many things like the odd way magnetic fields of islands throughout One Piece, the potential of Kid potentially having an important fruit, because that's been the trend with Luffy and Law so far, even stuff down to the Southbirds, all had me invested. And then I think the ancient kingdom being sunk to the ground, I'm on board with that. Where it really, really seems like the strongest bit of evidence to me was this last bit, the Jaya part. And I think people were even commenting like, wait to get to that part. And it was definitely worth it. I mean, this is the strongest piece of evidence to me. I feel I wish this had been moved up much further in the video. Because honestly, if this was moved up much further in the video, then maybe I'm watching all of this other stuff more bought in, I guess. I mean, I was already bought it. Act 1 really got me bought in. Act 2 really mostly lost me, I guess. Not lost me, but it just didn't. It made me feel less on board with this theory, just because I felt like a lot of it was, to me, reaching. But this is not a reach. This is about. This thing is basically just about as. It's as concrete as a piece of evidence could possibly get, you know? It's just straight up, look, this is different than this. There is something off here very, very clearly and blatantly, right? This is probably the most concrete piece of evidence you can have for, like, this is just such a straight up, hardcore, clear evidence proof for a theory, right? All I can say, like, this is one of those things where it's just either Oda made a mistake, or if you want some in-story explanation, the island rotated while it was being launched up or something like that, right? But if the island rotated while being launched up, then it's like, why then was it not commented on in the story, and why even make that decision to rotate it? What's the point, right? So it's either Oda made a mistake, editors made a mistake, Nami made a mistake. Either it's that, or this is just definitive proof that, you know, just definitive proof that the polls reversed or whatever. All right. Lord Sesshamar says, I think she wanted a strong start and end. Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, it is a really strong end to it. It's just... it's so strong, and the 15 minutes before it I personally didn't like. That I almost feel like I didn't, if you'd cut all that and then just had this, well, it's just the way it goes, right? You want a longer video at the end of the day, and they felt that the Splash Mountain stuff and all of that German references and stuff was strong evidence, so that's what you're going to keep. But yeah, this is what I was really looking for. I think Chris Morales says rate the theory. There's two ways I could either rate the video. One, I'll say this. I don't know if this is a Japanese One Piece YouTuber style or it's just her style. I think her style of presentation is so much fun to watch with the little dramatic, like, there's much more live action visual stuff that's happening, right? Much more props involved and, little funny bits with the dog and stuff, and she's much more visually dramatic with it, like slamming the table, slamming her head down. That's all fun to watch, right? It makes the video more entertaining. For the theory itself, there's two ways to look at it. Do I believe it? I solidly now, if you'd asked me before the last minute, I would have said probably not, but I think it's interesting. Now that we got this little bit in about the North Pole, South Pole in terms of Jaya, it's something that no matter what, I have to view as basically a really, really, really fucking strong possibility. Like, to me, it's in my head now, it's basically like, okay, either Oda made a straight up mistake here, or everything comes together. Even just stuff like Lodestar, Roadstar, I especially give extra credit for, like, extra credit or at least believability to a Japanese person talking about that, because I think sometimes we English speaking content creators or whatever might take certain liberties or stretches or assumptions about Japanese, like, oh, this word probably sounds like this in Japanese, or in Japanese this vaguely means this or something, right? She's an actual Japanese person, right? These are actual Japanese people, so if they're saying like Lodestar Island sounds like Roadstar Island, that's a huge deal, right? So at this point I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't know if this isn't an answer to what is the One Piece, but it is very potentially an answer to what was the One Piece world once like, and what was what might it look like at the end of the story, it's just difficult. I definitely believe the destruction of the Red Line theory, which, as I understand, is also popular in Japan. I think that there's tremendous possibility for this to work with that existing theory. Yeah, I think it's really cool that there's so many possibilities as to what the One Piece could be, and so many have strong in-story hints as to potential, like, world-changing, game-changing revamps of the entire One Piece planet, and they all make sense. So at the end of the day, I think it'll be some sort of a combination of multiple theories, but if I had a gun in my head, how much would I believe that the poles will reverse? I don't know. I'd say like a 50-50 shot or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, the video itself overall, and this is purely personal, right? There's two, like, how I view the theory. This last part really sold me. A lot of the beginning sold me, but the last part really sold me. So now I think it's very, very possible. It's just that there's the other possibility that Oda just fucked up here. As long as that's a possibility, it's hard to say for sure. If Oda had Nami make some comment on this or something like that, like north and south in the map don't line up or something, then that's huge. The fact that Nami didn't say anything, it means Oda either made a mistake or he wants to retain the mystery of that twist or something like that, which is also possible. So right now I'm very split on that. The video itself, I wonder if, like, a lot of the middle sections are more interesting to Japanese viewers, because I've noticed this, which is that if it's a video to English speaking people, and then somebody or some content creator makes references to, did you know in Japan, blah, 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 then that sounds a lot stronger to English-speaking viewers, because we just don't know a lot, right? I wonder if it's true the reverse, where, like, if you're in Japan and you start talking about references to Western things, like, oh, Oda could have been inspired by this from Roger Rabbit, or this from Splash Mountain, right? then that sounds more appealing to Japanese people because it's referencing some stuff that the audience or the viewer doesn't have that much knowledge on, and it sounds like it could fit, so you're more likely to just view that as really strong evidence because it's coming from a foreign place and explaining something that's foreign to you, and it feels like that's lining up with a lot of the other ideas that are being presented, right? So I can't judge the middle section of the video that well because I'm American and I just have my doubts as to how much a ride at Disney World would have influenced Oda. But then even when we're getting to foreign stuff like, okay, laws, I mean, Sanji's German and Germa 66 is sorry, Sanji's French and Germa 66, like, you know, those sort of references and stuff, you're kind of losing it there. So I mean, overall theory video, I think it's a really good theory video. I just am not personally the type to be that interested in a lot of the middle type evidence, but end of the day, the beginning I thought was really strong and the ending was just so convincing. So I don't know. The theory itself, I think it's very, 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 very plausible. Theory video overall, I'm happy I watched it. It was definitely entertaining from start to finish. Okay, guys. And this style of presentation is really cool and unique, and it's something that I think would be cool if, like, I guess the only person that kind of does some stuff similar to this is maybe Tekking, but not even really like this. So I like the style of presentation a lot. Alright, let me go through the supers I missed real quick. How'd you guys like it? You all who have not seen it yet. And I guess I can exit out of this thing. Okay, so I got a few here. Kenocha says, someone who makes theories hates watching theories. I feel like I answered this one, but I'll just comment on that briefly, which is just like, yeah, I mean, like, when you see so much, like, so many people have theories, and everybody that makes a big theory is convinced that their theory is the answer to everything, so it's kind of like when you, what do you call? You know, it's kind of like, there's just so much One Piece content out there at this point that, for me, I prefer not watching other people's theories because I would rather just have my ideas be my own ideas, etc. Bunfagum thanks. Morj, Godzilla dodged Mecha Godzilla's atomic breath, which moves at light speed, so he scales above that. No, that doesn't work because if he dodged at light speed, then he would have destroyed the entire fucking city. If Godzilla pulled up on Dragon Kaido, who wins? Kaido wins easily. Ooh, thanks for the 5. Some believe a magnetic pole shift will happen in our times and reset civilization. Yeah, I've heard about that one. That's kind of crazy. It goes up there with stuff like a solar flare could kill us all. It's just stuff that could happen that we have no control over. Yeah, this has me excited for Kid potentially coming back with some actual role this time. The Final Storm, thanks for the 10. How'd Devon get on Egghead as an imposter in the first place? Few mentioned Lafitte, only Devon with 1090. I mean, I think I've talked about this quite a bit, both in this and in past, going all the way back to like the Doflamingo video, Doflamingo being the killer and everything. Lafitte is, as far as we know, the best stealth person in all of One Piece. He got into Marijoa, pre-time skip Lafitte, got into Marijoa with probably some of the best observation hockey users in the world up there. Right? He literally broke into the most important meeting room in the world pretty easily, pre-time skip. So if he can break in there, I'm pretty sure he could break into Egghead. And Lafitte is the only other Blackbeard part not accounted for, so it's him and Devon, deadly duo. How do you believe he got both of them on Egghead? I think we'll learn a bit more about Lafitte's abilities and maybe understand how he did that, but Oda might just... he might just leave that for another time. I don't know. Maybe he entered Marijo undetected. Yeah, same line of thought. Antoine Richardson, thanks for the 2. Hawkeye is Rayleigh's son. What? No, Mihawk's not Rayleigh's son. Come on now. I would really hate if Mihawk's Rayleigh's son. just because it feels like everyone, even Shanks at one point, we all thought he's just some normal dude, right? Just some normal dude that's really strong, that'd be cool, and now it turns out he's very possibly, he's a celestial dragon, and he's very possibly a member of the D tribe. Like, very possibly Rayleigh's son as well. Or sorry, Rox's son as well. Okay, Maya answered your comment earlier. Akash Panda, thanks for the 2. The bombs did not even KO Big Mom, it was the lava. The bombs got her most of the way there, and then after that, she was in lava. So, whatever you want to credit. D. Marquez, thanks for the 5. Hi, Morj, got a similar experience with my dog, but I didn't witness how they did it. Oh, you're lucky. Hearing how it went sounds rough. Hope things are good for you. Yeah, it was a while ago. It was in June. But thank you, I appreciate that. Antoine Richardson, thanks for the 2. Why do you hate Kyrie and Hawkeye is Rayleigh's son? Why do I hate Kyrie? Because Kyrie was so This is even before getting into so many of the, like, recent things that, like, you guys know he says controversial things, right? Wherever you fall on terms of the things that he says, I've hated Kyrie for the longest fucking time, even before any of this stuff, okay? Hate is a strong word. Hate is a strong word. You guys know when I say hate, it's like a broad general thing, right? But I've disliked Kyrie for the longest time, all right? To begin with, Steph Curry was initially my favorite basketball player. That got me into basketball. After what Kyrie did to him in the 2016 finals, which now I can objectively say, Kyrie just played way better, right? But after that, I was like, hearing people be like, oh, Kyrie better than Steph, blah, 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 blah. I was like, fuck it. No, he's not better than Steph. He could never be the best player on a team. Like, fuck this guy. He's the most overrated player in the world. People just like him because he has flashy handles and all that shit. Really didn't like that. Then over time, LeBron became my new favorite player, right? It took quite a while for LeBron to become my favorite player, but slowly he caught up to Steph Curry. And now actually LeBron is my favorite player and Steph Curry is my second. But Kyrie, he abandoned LeBron. He abandoned LeBron and the Cavs and everything like that to go be the man on his own team. How'd that go for him? Turns out it just turns out, if my two favorite players are LeBron and Steph, Kyrie fucked up over both of them, basically. Because first, he took away 2016 from Steph, basically, right? And basically bitched him out in the last couple minutes of the game. Like, basically 1v1 Steph to win the Cavs that championship. So, can never forgive him for that. And then 2 is that he fucked over LeBron because he had a full head of himself. Like, he was so full of himself, he probably believed that he was better than LeBron. The way he talked and acted, he was just like, yeah, I can do this shit myself, blah, 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 blah. He, just tried to be the leader on his own teams and stuff, turned out to be terrible at that. And over the years, it just became more and more clear that LeBron carried him. Kyrie's only good at doing one thing, which is isoing people 1v1 and scoring, which is a very great, he's phenomenal at that. But to me, Kyrie was just so overrated for so many years. And his stupid, actions fucked over LeBron, and his phenomenal play fucked over Steph, that I've just never liked Kyrie. And then when he teamed up with it turns out he's best friends with Kevin Durant. It's just like, you would be best friends with Kevin Durant. You would be best friends with Kevin Durant. He also thinks he's fucking he preaches a lot of weird ass philosophy. If you listen, just weird ass shit. In my past life, I was a 7-foot guard and stuff. Have you guys listened to that conversation he had with Kevin Durant, on TikTok Live or Instagram Live or whatever the fuck it was? He's preaches some really weird ass stuff that just makes no sense. Some bizarre pseudoscience shit. In my past lives and stuff, but this is what I was doing. I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, I can't like Kyrie. He's fucked over my 2 favorite players. I just dislike the dude. Alright. Where else are we at? Jolly D Joestar says, who's stronger, Gojo or Sukuna? Well, don't we have to let this fight play out? At the moment, it's looking like Gojo. Yeah, I can't knock Kyrie's skill. That's the thing. I'm not trying to knock... He's definitely overrated because it's been proven time and again that he's just not... He's not near... he's nowhere near the level of a player like Steph is. And I don't think he's even as good as Dame, because Dame does a much better job leading teams with less help than Kyrie has ever had, right? I think Kyrie is an amazing number 2 option when he's given one job and one job only, which is be a weapon that will go out and score in difficult ISO situations when we need that, right? And he's one of the best ISO scorers I've ever seen. Over time, I've had to come to respect Kyrie's level of skill. There's no disputing that whatsoever. But I dislike the dude for his entire career trajectory as a basketball player. And he's also just annoying to listen to. Rising Doom, thanks. Jai was knocked up. Jai was knocked up just 400 years ago, so the magnetic pole / shift was at least not in the Void Century. Wait, wait. Now you got me thinking. No, because maybe does the magnetic fields of the clouds and everything like that reflect what's going on in the blue sea? Because the argument could be that the clouds were not affected, but the blue sea was. Anyone want to respond to Rising Doom's comment with a better response than I have? Because I don't really have one. Rising Doom said Jaya was knocked up 400 years ago, right? So after the Void Century, right? So is there a good reason that it would make sense to have been caused by a pole shift if this was all happening after the pole shift? Again, the argument could be simply that the clouds were unaffected, but the blue sea was. I don't know enough about magnetic poles and how that shit works to give a better argument. John678, thanks for the 2. If poles were switched, how did Nolan return? I mean, the magnetic fields were set at the, Nolan he never was sent up to the sky, right? So he just went to an island, went home, tried to go back to that island. OG3 says, but people also say he's more skilled than Steph, which isn't true. I mean, I really disliked that back in 2016, but at this point, there's been Steph is... The way people talk about Steph Curry now versus 2 years ago, it's so different. It's great. It's great being a Steph Curry fan, because after he won that finals, it really, really just changed so much about how people viewed him, because everyone still gave him the credit back then, but there was always that however that you have to add in, right? There was always that way to question him, and then after what he did in 2022, just the amount of respect that people put on his name is nobody questions him anymore. Now it's almost talked about as though yeah, if you want a guy leading your team to a championship, Steph Curry's probably top 2, top 3 in the NBA, I don't think that's how people talked about, back a few years ago. It's kind of like, Steph, you got your doubts about him in the final. People were always hesitant to be like, yeah, you'd want him as the best player on your team over, KD or even Giannis or something like that. But now it's if you have people have Steph in their top 3, I think most would say Jokic is 1, but a lot of people are like, yeah, Steph, I would maybe have him over Giannis to lead my team. And, that's not the most popular opinion, but it's not one that's going to be heavily criticized, That's a valid opinion to have. So, I mean, I think everyone's opinion of Kyrie has over time gone down and Steph has gone up. So, you could say, Kyrie's a more skilled ball handler, arguably more skilled finisher. Steph's just so much more than that. The Guar 003 says Kyrie has better handles, but Steph is better in other stuff, especially off-ball movement. So everybody gushes about off-ball movement, but I really, really don't think it's fully talked about how valuable that is, because it's like you're having a 6th player added to your team. It's practically like it's like you get an additional player when you're on offense, because if you've got a Kyrie Irving or even a LeBron James on your team, right? When they have the ball, right? When LeBron has the ball, he's LeBron. When he doesn't have the ball, when he doesn't have the ball, he's not. You're just he's just whoever, right? It doesn't really matter, right? With Steph Curry, it's like you've got 2 players in one, because when Steph has the ball, it's like he's Kyrie Irving, right? It's like when Steph has the ball and he's handling the ball and aiming to score, it's like he's Kyrie Irving. Maybe you think Kyrie's a bit better at scoring, ISO or whatever, cool. But it's like he's a pseudo Kyrie Irving, right? It's like you've got Kyrie Irving when he's got the ball. When Steph doesn't have the ball, it's like you've got JJ Redick. You get what I'm saying? It's like, that's insane. That's value that I think is not fully appreciated. It's basically like he is either the best role player imaginable, right? The best catch and shoot guy imaginable when somebody else has the ball, right? You've either got JJ Redick, or if you need him to go out and score himself or facilitate himself, you've basically got, you know, the Kyrie. I thought I muted this. Okay. You either got Kyrie Irving or like, you know, a Dame Lillard or something like that. That is insane value. You've basically got two players in one. I don't know. I don't think people talk about it. Like with Steph Curry, you've got Steph Curry, but you've also, like, when he's not being Steph Curry, he's JJ Redick. That is so cool. That is insane. You know, you just get JJ Redick for free for the price of two players. You're getting a JJ Redick, which any team would kill to have. And then, you know, like the superstar is still doing the superstar. It's like you get a superstar player, but you also get to have JJ Redick at the same time. That's so cool. Nobody else is like that. OG3 says he's the best movement shooter of all time, and he's the best off the dribble shooter of all time. Lol, unfair. Yeah, basically. Will of Davy, thanks for the 5. Hey Morj, very late to the stream after work, but I wanted to hear your thoughts on a tweet. Not sure if I can find the link, but I found it interesting. I gotta react to tweets now. What's the tweet? Can you sum it up? Young Shift 2017 says, can't believe the Kyrie disrespect. I don't think I said anything disrespectful. Kyrie is legitimately... If you wanted to say he's like a top few ISO scorer player in the league, I would say he's a better ISO scorer than I think Steph Curry is. I just think Steph's, you know, better playmaker, better off ball, obviously. Just better in a variety of other ways. Better overall basketball IQ, probably. Okay, now it's all basketball talk, which I suppose is my fault. Brandon King says, Morj missed my super chat. Let me take a look. Roger wanted to turn the world upside down, says Brandon King. That is such a cool point. That is hilarious if that was a huge bit of little foreshadowing that Oda slipped in. I love that. Can somebody respond to Rising Doom? Jaya was knocked up 400 years ago, so the magnetic pole shift was at least not in the Void Century. Is there a way to reconcile that with the idea that the magnetic shift was in the Void Century? Oof says Giannis would be the shonen protagonist of the NBA. Bro was trash when he came in and became a monster. Here's the tricky thing. I would agree in a sense. I think Giannis is cool. He's just a little corny in some ways, but he's a really likable personality. And I know a lot of people shit on him for that steps to success speech, but I really, really liked it because I understood where he's coming from. I do think that with Giannis, it's tricky because at the end of the day, he is a player that relies very, very much on just being physically dominant over other players. And I think just most basketball fans tend to appreciate, you know, like if Anthony Edwards or some shit became, or even like Luka or something like that became the next best player in the NBA, I think a lot more people would appreciate that just because people lean to the idea of, you know, people want a Michael Jordan or a Kobe or something like that more so. Someone that it feels more like is a real hooper in their eyes, you know, wins through a lot of like a deep bag or a lot of moves or, you know, just traditional skilled basketball play on top of athleticism. Like everybody likes athleticism, right? But they want it mixed with all the other, you know, all the other shit. Whereas Giannis is primarily athleticism. So it's almost hard for people to feel like, oh, he's the protagonist of the NBA because it's kind of, the way he wins is a play style that is, you know, it's impressive, no doubt impressive. It's just not as pure basketball as I think a lot of people would prefer to see. So it's tricky. OG3 says corny makes him an even more fitting protagonist, lol. Yeah. Ignorant Weed says Giannis is nowhere near as complete a player. I think that's the thing. Like, I think people want to see what they view as true basketball players or complete players. At the end of the day, what's most effective is what's most effective, right? Like, you know, you can have a really deep bag, but if Shaq just needs to do 2 steps and dunk on you, then like that's the better basketball player, right? But it's hard to feel like, oh, that guy's the protagonist, I suppose. But you know, Giannis, he's such a likable person. He's really good, and he did work on a lot of his weaknesses and stuff. I just felt like this last playoffs was a huge regression, so it's hard for me to feel like, I don't know, like he has like he's really kicked the allegations of just being a you know, run and dunk man. Tag, thanks very much. Both parts of Jaya moved 90 degrees in the complete map, not the part of Skypiea. Wait, what? What? Both parts of Jaya moved 90 degrees in the complete map, not the part of Skypiea. Where's the Skypiea? How do we know if Skypiea moved or not? How would we know if Skypiea moved? Is there another map I'm not thinking of? Virgil Hawkins, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 11 months. Always good to see you, man. What story got the strongest emotional reaction out of you on a first watch/read? Oh, a little thing called Any Slobby. And that's no joke. That is, to date, the story that has by far the... Not by far... I mean, how do you measure emotional reactions over the course of your life? I guess at the end of the day, you have to go by memory, right? Like, what left the longest impact or impression on you? Maybe there's something that made me cry harder at some point. I don't know. In terms of pure emotional impact for the time that I read it, in terms of memory, like terms of what I can remember, what left the longest lasting impact? Any Slobby. Robin's backstory, if we're being very, very specific. Robin's backstory for sure. That is, and this is, I'm going to bring this up again when we see Saul again, but I'm not letting go of the Saul thing. The Saul thing really, 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 like, I don't like that people sweep it under the rug. I don't think any of the reasons that people give are, like, actually understanding the point that I'm trying to get across. So there'll be another video on Saul and everything like that. Because I put one out already, then some people were understanding, some people had counter-arguments. I could have put out another video addressing the counter-arguments, basically, but I decided to wait till we get Saul again. The Saul stuff really, really bothers me. But at the end of the day, the initial impact, I can probably go back and rewatch that and just pretend that Saul dies there, and maybe that'll fix it for me, I guess. But yeah, definitely Water 7, Any Slobby. That was probably the yeah, that was probably the moment that arc and storyline really probably, whether I knew it or not, I probably didn't realize it as a kid or whatever, but whether I realized it or not, at that point in time when I experienced that storyline, specifically Robin's backstory, that was the moment that I would be hooked on One Piece forever, and it would be kind of seared in my mind forever as just, you know, my favorite or most formative story that I've ever read, you know? What story impressed you the most on first watch/read? It's also just One Piece. Like, it took I didn't even follow other anime or manga for the longest time when I, like, before One Piece. There was no other series that I was really into. One Piece was the first one. And One Piece, just the depth and the vast world and the vast narrative and the highs and lows of emotion that it hits and the fights and everything like that, and, you know, it's fucking One Piece. Like, there was nothing I was following as a kid, elementary school and early middle school, that was even close to something like that. To me, that story just was on a totally different level, you know? So that obviously left the biggest impression on me. When are you going to try some sports manga like Haikyuu? I've tried 2 sports series. No, I've tried 3. 3 ever, right? One was Prince of Tennis when I was younger, and I liked it when I was, just a high school kid because it got really fucking dumb with kids being able to do absurd shit. But I was in high school. I was young. I didn't care, and I liked playing tennis back then, so it was fun. So Prince of Tennis is one. Ping Pong I watched later on. I thought Ping Pong is great, and it's a short anime series. I think it's phenomenal. One of my favorite series, actually. Haikyuu. I tried a couple episodes of it. I think 3 episodes, actually. And it's just too... I get... So many people have told me just try sticking with it. Just try sticking with it. So I'm going to try and get back into it. I really am going to try and get back into it. It's just really fucking hard for me to take Haikyuu seriously. Because... I don't want to get into a whole Haikyuu rant again. Because I really haven't tried the series enough to say I gave it a fair shot. And so many people have said such good things about it. People that I trust the opinions of. That I feel like I gotta just suck it up and try it at some point, basically. But, try further. But the few episodes I watched, it felt too corny to me. And I felt like I could never possibly take them playing volleyball and taking it so seriously. I felt like I couldn't take it that seriously myself, basically. People have said Hajime no Ippo. Oh, so I did once try reading the Hajime no Ippo manga. This was when I was young. Young, I'm saying probably in my phase when I was trying different manga and anime and just checking them out to see what they're about. I tried Hajime no Ippo probably when I was in 9th grade or something like that. I tried a couple chapters. I just hated the art style. Please don't roast me for that. This was my preference at the time. Maybe if I tried it again, I'd get used to the art style or even appreciate it. But at the time, it just felt really jank reading that art style. Doesn't help that the series started way long ago, so it feels like an old series just when you're picking it up. I also, by the way, am not one that I generally don't like bitchly main characters. By that I mean Ippo, if that was his name, right? It is that. From what I remember, he used to get people would bully him a lot. He would just get bullied. But he was secretly strong because he would carry fish or some shit. So he had good potential to be a good fighter. I think it was something like that. That was the first chapter. It was just him getting bullied. I don't like bitchly main characters. I just don't. It's hard for me to... I for side characters, I love Kobe. I love Usopp. Side characters, perfectly fine. Be as bitchly as you want. I will enjoy seeing your character moments and stuff where you step up, blah, 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 have those important moments, right? Have those moments of growth, etc. But I tend to not really enjoy series that feature main characters that are just bitches, basically. And I'm sure you'll get tougher and more confident, etc. as the story goes on. But I'm not interested in following, it's just not interested in following that forever. That's part of the reason I'd never liked Deku and My Hero that much. The thing is, I can enjoy their moments too when they step up and they don't act like that, but it just tends to feel like a very, it makes me roll my eyes having to follow a character like that over and over, basically. That's just my personal preference character-wise, At least with stuff like My Hero, there's lots of other characters to get interested and attached to, but as I understand, Hajime no Ippo is very, very tightly focused on its main character. And if the main character is just a bitch, it is just hard for me to really want to read more of this person's story. Why would I want to read... I don't know. Javon Johnson, thanks for the 2. How have you been feeling about Chainsaw Man recently? Chainsaw Man recently, I'm very curious to see where it goes. I think that I think it's at a really interesting point character-wise for Asa. I think I see more now the direction that both characters' journeys could go this arc. I think that it's still in that sort of meandering sort of setup phase where you're not really sure where the story's going to go, but at the same time, it has not set up the same sort of sense of mystery that part 1 did. It's going more for a slow burn character, slower burn character storytelling, but I feel like the level of the character writing has dipped a little bit recently, and it's kind of just going through the motions for a little bit. Again, I think Asa's recent development was really great potential for the near future. But I'm not reading Chainsaw Man like excited for week to week what's happening next in the chapters. I'm gonna let them pile up again and then read. I still think part 2 has tremendous potential and could be better than part 1 by the end. All right, we're probably going to call the stream in a few minutes. You know what? Maybe I read Oof's bro hating on Naruto again. I didn't say anything about Naruto. I don't think like I like Naruto's. There's a difference between a character being not capable but having a lot of pluck and moxie, I suppose, like Naruto did. Naruto was very incompetent early on, but he was a ballsy, gutsy ninja, right? A gutsy ninja. That was the whole point of it, right? And that was all he had for a bit. I enjoy that. Like Naruto, you could never say at any point in the story was Naruto a pushover who did not have a lot of self-confidence, you know? From chapter 1, Naruto saying, I'm going to become Hokage. I prefer following characters like that have, this is just pure, this is not good writing, bad writing. Not good writing, bad writing. This is personal preference of the type of characters that you enjoy following in stories. I tend to prefer characters that have a stronger sense of drive, desire, confidence, etc., and then seeing the steps of growth that they go through along the way to becoming the fully actualized versions of themselves, right? Or just characters with greater, like Denji didn't have a lot of desires early on, but he's not a pushover, right? He was a simp for Makima, right? But that's not the same, like he's still got a very strong attitude. He's still a very self-confident, I suppose, person. That's a difference between characters that are very much like, oh, woe is me, I'm a bitch, I'm a pushover. That's Deku, that's the vibes I was getting from Ippo early on, you know. Those are different personality types. And then you get to see them grow and everything like that. But I personally am just not interested that much in watching a story about Kobe becoming, Kobe's evolution over the course of the story or whatever, right? I love those characters as side characters. I love them as side characters. I don't tend to enjoy them as main characters personally. It's not about, people are getting this wrong. It's not about alphas or betas or whatever. Right? No one would call Naruto an alpha, even if you take those terms seriously, right? No one would call Naruto an alpha at the start of his story. Even this guy, if we're talking about Haikyuu, no one would call Hinata an alpha at the start of their story. But they do have a sense of, like, they do have a certain sense or strength of spirit that you already see in them in terms of, like, their confidence in themselves and what they want to be. And to me, that's a much more interesting or enjoyable character to follow personally than characters that kind of have to learn to come into their own in terms of gaining a sense of self-confidence or self-worth even. It's just, I just personally don't enjoy that much. It's just purely a preference. You get what I'm saying? Like, you could put characters into different categories, right? Like, you've got someone like Luffy who's way on the one end, like Luffy or even a Goku who's way on one end of the spectrum, who they start off phenomenally capable, honestly. Like, they're considered freakishly strong, extremely confident. They're from the very beginning, very little phases them, etc., right? Then you can shift a little bit over. Then you got characters like Naruto and let's say Hinata, who are still enjoyable characters for me to read personally, which are, even if they're not that capable yet, they still have a sense of internal drive or strength and don't let other characters push them around, and they'll always kind of stick up or stand up for themselves in a certain way, even if their capabilities don't yet match their sense of spirit, right? And then you've got characters like Deku, or what I understood to be what Ippo was like, right? And these are characters who just start basically with very little self-confidence or self-belief. And they are pushovers, for lack of a better term. And I don't enjoy that type of character as the main character generally. However, if I read Hajime no Ippo, maybe I end up really liking Deku. Maybe I really enjoy the main character. I don't know. This is just my personal preference from over time, you know? Oof says bro hates Gohan. No, because I like those characters as side characters. If I had to, Gohan was my favorite character in Dragon Ball Z. You guys don't, it's hard to explain. I can't stand if the whole story has to revolve around that type of character, because it would just get grating to me. Okay? However, getting to see Gohan go from, this crying kid that's having to be saved by his dad all the time, being a liability in many storylines, but still showing flashes of brilliance, etc., to finally coming into his own in the Cell arc and really letting out his full potential, really coming into his own as basically this very, very unstoppable sort of force of personality, right? That is a great character arc for me to see. I think Gohan is the best character in Dragon Ball, in my opinion. I just couldn't have stood it if I had to watch Gohan as the hero and go through that sort of if he's a side character juxtaposed with a character like Goku, that's great. If it was just Gohan that I'm having to focus on all of these arcs, that would be a pain. And yes, it would be eventually worth it when he's fully coming into his own against Cell and everything, but I just wouldn't have been able to enjoy it as the main character. Same thing with Kobe, same thing with Usopp. I really, really do enjoy these characters. Zenitsu, for one, is my favorite character in Demon Slayer. I really enjoy those type of characters. It's just not fun for me when they're the main focus the entire time. For me, that's honestly kind of the ideal type of side character. Henchme976 says Gohan was a main character for a bit, though. Exactly, and he was the main character for the moment that he finally had that full transition from the bitchly Gohan to basically the greatest hero the Earth has ever seen, right? I guess, Goku, the rightful successor for Goku, the person that's able to become the type of, the type of force that everybody believed that he could be, right? When the one arc that he was the main character for, I love, right? I couldn't read 500 or 400 chapters of Dragon Ball with him as the main character to get to that point if he was the main character all the way through. You give me a singular story arc for that, that's great. But it's not like My Hero, I'm reading Deku being a bitch for 200, 300 plus chapters or whatever, right? And yeah, he has moments where he's getting, it's small steps along the way to getting more and more self-confident, etc., becoming more of a hero that takes the reins and everything like that. But it's just very small baby steps all the way through, and that core personality is still that core personality. It's tiring to me. Ippo, it's going to be over 1,000 chapters, I imagine, unless he goes through some drastic character changes along the way. I don't know. Jacob says, but then Toriyama hoed him in the Buu saga. Yeah. I feel like Gohan. Yeah. It's tricky because Gohan did become Gohan did become the strongest character by the end of the Buu saga, strongest non-fused character by the end of the Buu saga, but it felt like the actual role that he got to play out over the course of the arc I didn't enjoy. I'm always surprised when I see some people don't like Zenitsu. I love Zenitsu. Zenitsu has most of my favorite scenes in Demon Slayer. AJK says, Morj, have you seen my question? No. Cosmic Turtle says, stuttering all over those words, just say alpha, Morj. I'm trying to avoid those words because they specifically don't get across the idea I'm trying to say. And I think it's kind of, even whether you're joking or not, I think it's kind of sad that people think in those terms. No, I don't think Naruto was not an alpha to start off the story, right? But he's still a character. The fact that people try and put things into those terms is annoying because it's just you're not getting the point of what I'm saying, right? By the stereotypical definition, Naruto is not an alpha at the start of his story, but he's still the type of character that I would enjoy watching, right? Because he has a sense of drive, a sense of self-confidence, sense of, gutsiness, etc. Does that put him in a category of like alpha, beta, whatever? No, I don't think anybody's looking at Naruto in chapter 1 and being like, this guy's an alpha, right? But that's not what you need, in my opinion, to be like, you don't need to be this super hyper capable character or something like that to have self-confidence, to be very driven, to be very sure of yourself, you know? Those are the types of characters in general that I prefer to enjoy, that I prefer reading as the main character for story, right? The bitchly characters, I like them more as side characters. That's it. Oof says you like MCs with grit. I mean, Deku has grit. It's just buried deep down. I like MCs that have, I suppose, grit overt as one of the more overt aspects of their personality, I suppose. Jacob says Naruto grew into a dominant man. That's the beauty of the story. I mean, yeah, Naruto grew into a very, like, capable, competent leader, right? He grew into exactly the type of person that he always believed he could be. But you don't need to, like, Naruto didn't need to be like that from the beginning of the story for me to enjoy reading about him. I enjoyed watching the story of him becoming that man, you know? It's different from how Deku is, though, in that Deku's, like, mind blown at the possibility, like, just so overwhelmed at the sheer idea of him becoming the new, you know, symbol of peace and everything like that. Deku actually has to grow into the idea of becoming the new symbol of hope, symbol of peace, etc. For me, that's just not fun to read. But it's not good or bad writing, you gotta understand, right? It's just a personal preference in terms of what type of characters you want to see. Tag, thank you very much. Sorry for the previous message. Nami, by rotating both parts of the Jai map by 90 degrees, reveals the true map, which is the skull missing. It does not imply that the Earth moved by 90 degrees. Okay, so she rotated both. Oh, is that why? I gotta look at this shit again. Okay, that makes sense though, because then would that imply that the island may be rotated as it was launched? Because I still have the question that somebody else brought up, which was like, how come, you know, if the Void Century was when the poles reversed, then why were the maps off when Nolan's sailing was 400, or like Nolan, that whole incident was 400 years ago? AJK says, Morj, you talked about it on earlier stream, but what happened in your marketing business? You said you laid it off or something. What went bad? What can we learn? And what not to do on a business? The simplest thing I would put it as is basically just amount of time that goes into it. It's too difficult to manage. So right now I do marketing still, but not in a full, how do I say it? Like, I do it on an individual to individual basis, basically. I don't have a small marketing business. So I'll run Google ads for certain people, and that's my own source of revenue, but I would not call that basically like the full-fledged business that we were working on earlier, which was actually systemization for digital marketers. So the two main things that went wrong for me are, one, basically the key partners that I worked with, primarily one main partner who did own the majority. We had a lot of differences in terms of long-term direction, and basically a lot of things would happen where I felt like we would draw up certain plans that we would all agree on, and then if it was taking longer to see a certain degree of success or something like that, then he would want to pivot very quickly. Whereas I would tend to feel like, no, we should grind this out, wait this out. In general, I feel like, in my experience, as long as you see something working, it is always better to stick to it, and eventually you will see the results that you're looking for, rather than chasing something quick. Simple example would be this YouTube channel. You know, if I'd quit after I did a few videos, right? Like, let's say I did my first 10 videos even. I'm like, oh no, I don't have 200 subscribers yet or anything. I don't even have like, whatever. I'm not getting a lot of views. I'm not making any money. I'm putting so much time into these videos. Then this YouTube channel would never have reached whatever it has, right? So that's always my mentality. So the bigger thing is basically disagreement in terms of that. Significant disagreements over time, which suck because that main partner, right? I like really, really learned so much from him, and he kind of started off in a mentor role to me. And in general, like that's still somebody that we have a very good relationship overall. Like a good, like we can talk, get advice from each other in general, but it's not someone that I realized that I could be owning part of a business with. So that's one. And then two was just time wise, I was just like, I can't do everything I want to do at the same time, basically. So I had to drop that. And now I'm actually back to saving money for a new investment pretty much. So doing this, still doing digital marketing, but just client to client basis, basically. And now the goal is basically save money for my own much larger investment into a different sort of business. But I have a lot of marketing experience, so whatever I step into, I think I'll have a good framework for that. But thank you for the question. How are all the... so much discussions now about alpha, betas, and sigmas or whatever. You guys are missing the point of the... Never mind. None of the clarifications I added to the subject helped, I suppose. I don't read Bungo Stray Dogs. HK says, thanks, bro. I'm always learning something from you. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for sharing knowledge. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yes, I have reacted to the video. Okay, guys. We are going to call the stream in a couple minutes. Let me just check if there's any other interesting questions. Royal Fun says, nah, he's been stalling for 3 hours. I did try and stall for a while. I thought I'd be able to weasel my way out of the reaction, but we had to do it in the end. Amartya Sinha says, how old are you? I am 27. Nasty Ninja 808 says, I'm 37, lol. I wonder what the average age of my chat is. Oof says, I tried to get you out of it, bro. Unajagrawal says, do you still want to make a film someday? Yeah, that's the long-term goal. Long-term goal. Immediate goal, basically, reinvest in a new business. I have some ideas. But definitely main goal is probably just get to I have certain money goals in mind, basically, and once I get there, I'm just going to spend it all on an indie film, and that's the idea. Jacob says, shonen MCs being the manifestations of power fantasies are characters that grow from being incompetent to competent and respected, basically. Guess the character start point is important to you, Morj. Yeah, I mean, I think it varies for sure. There's a starting point, obviously, like you go from you can't have them at their end stage right away. But I think a lot of the attitude and mentality that they have to begin with is what's more, because I think part of it is how much you can see of yourself. Yeah, a lot of it might be how relatable the character feels to you, I suppose, right? So, I feel like people like characters for different reasons, right? So it doesn't always have to be how relatable it feels to you. But I do think that that is a part of it, right? And for me, you know, you can take characters like an Eren Yeager or something like that, or Naruto, who they begin the series with very little going for them, right? But they still have this very strong, determined drive of what they want to do or accomplish. I enjoy seeing those sort of journeys of people being able to eventually do that, which, as you say, is a common shonen power fantasy, I suppose, right? But I think that's common out in stories outside of fiction as well. I think I just, like a character like a Deku is just not a character that, for me, just becomes grating, as I said before, or tiring to see this guy go back and forth with not believing in themselves, etc., basically, because it just feels like, to me, it just becomes an irritating sort of problem that this person continuously deals with, because it's just not, maybe it just doesn't feel as relatable to me, I suppose. And I think that just is a part of it to a degree, because I have a very good friend who loves My Hero Academia. He's one of my few friends who's really into anime and like more into anime than I am. He loves My Hero Academia, and he's talked about how he finds Deku very, very relatable. And like, you know, Deku will be drawing or something or talking to himself or mumbling to himself. He's like, yeah, I feel like I'm kind of like that sometimes. And I'm like, okay, makes sense why you like Deku. So I think different people just come from different places in terms of that, you know? I think a lot of people like, so I enjoy side characters who have those personality traits quite a bit, because it's not the character that I need to feel the most invested in or the story is focusing the most in, but I can always really appreciate that type of story of seeing a character go from having zero sense of confidence, self-worth, or whatever, and then gaining whatever it may be, courage, drive, belief, etc. I can always appreciate, and it often really moves me to see that, but I just can't have that be the story of the focus, like, number one, first and foremost, because that's just a type of character writing that eventually just feels too, I don't know, too distant from from the type of character that I would prefer to follow, if that makes sense. Jacob says, do you like Black Clover, Morj? Yeah, I like Black Clover. Virgil Hawkins says, it's rare for me to find a character's personality relatable. Yeah, I mean, like, I said I like Black Clover. Asta's he's not a similar personality to me. Naruto's not a similar personality to me, right? Most of these characters are, shonen characters are very often written protagonists in particular, are very often written very similarly to each other. But there's traits of them and the simple core drive you can find relatable, right? Lloyd Seshamar says, I never thought Luffy would be relatable to a normal person. OP was fantasy from the start. It's more so the goal, right? So the sense of drive and dedication to a goal, that's something that, even if you don't find relatable, right? Like Luffy's internal monologue, which he doesn't have, or his personality traits, like no one's personality is quite like Luffy. The key story of Luffy, right, is a person. I mean, I'm surprised you can't find that relatable, right? The key story of Luffy is a person who starts off totally normal as an average person, essentially in a random village, whatever. And he has a very, very, very large dream or ambition. And he sets off on a journey to grow as a person and to grow into the type of man that can achieve what he wants to achieve. To me, I should hope that that's a relatable story to most anybody. Well, maybe not to most anybody, but I don't see why that's not a relatable type of story, right? Like, you don't have to relate to the exact personality of the character, but you can relate to a key core aspect of the character, I suppose. And I think that that's kind of, that's kind of a lot of what I prefer to see in certain main characters. Jacob says, do you like Asta as an MC, Morj? That's a better question. He definitely grew on me. Like, at the end of the day, I do think him wanting to be the Wizard King, at a certain point, it's repetitive. Like, I want to be Pirate King, I want to be Hokage, I want to be the Wizard King, right? At a certain point, it's kind of just like, okay. And Asta's personality was annoying to me at some point, but then over time, and like, my magic is never giving up, stuff like that. At a certain point, I started to find him funny and more enjoyable. He's not my favorite part of Black Clover. I think part of it is, I think his ability is just too broken, and I think the author really, oversold the idea that Asta's ability is a weak ability. I think it was the most broke ability in the series from the very start, and I don't enjoy seeing a character that, in my opinion, has just the best advantage over anybody from the very start. And I think the author really tried to bend over backwards to try and convince us that Asta's ability is not broke, when all I see is just that's the best ability in the series, and it's not even close. But besides all that, Asta grew on me. I enjoyed more for some other characters, personally. I can definitely understand him being annoying. Black Clover is a series I think people will enjoy much later, I suppose. It gets better a lot later, and it differentiates a lot. Alright, guys. I'm going to call the stream right about here. Yeah, I'm gonna call the stream right about here. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the reaction. I hope I added substantive content to it, or transformative content or whatever to it. So it falls under the ethical bounds of React content. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in, and I will talk to you all later.